on to ESPN College Football, presented by Best Buy. Today, the 101st meeting in the in-state rivalry between Michigan State and Michigan. They've been playing each other since 1898. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big House. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Chris Spielman. Delighted to have you with us. This is always a big ball game for these two schools, and never more so perhaps than this year. Michigan State trying to win for the first time in this rivalry since 2001. They've lost 6 in a row. And Chris, they come in off a wobble last week at home against Ohio State. They were 6-1 heading into that one. They got hammered. A lot of their fans are saying same old Spartans. They want to erase the doubts today.
Well, in order to erase those doubts, they got to lean on number 23, Javon Ringer. A powerful back. His lower body is strong and stout. The thing about Javon is that he's very explosive. He has a first gear, a second gear, and just when you think you got him, right here you'll see it. His third gear, breakaway speed, that he has the ability to go the distance at 60+ yards every time he gets his ball on his hands.
And Michigan State is a favorite here at the Big House in this rivalry for the first time since 1968, because they're taking on a Michigan team that is 2-5, their worst start since 1967. It's a team that last week, while losing in one-sided fashion against Penn State, seemed to find a little bit of a running game.
Well, they did. And number 4, Brandon Minor, we did the game last week, and he ran with passion. He ran tough. He ran over people. He ran through people. He ran around people. And the thing that he inspired in his teammates was confidence in that offensive line. The harder Brandon ran, the harder that offensive line blocked for him, and they were explosive, and that could be signs to come. They got to carry it on today.
Both quarterbacks are a little banged up. With more on that, here's Aaron Andrews.
Sean, Wolverines quarterback Stephen Threes says his bruised right elbow is feeling a lot better than it did last week. That elbow injury, he said, doesn't cause him any pain, just some tingling down his arm and doesn't allow him to grip the ball. But today he's wearing a band over it, and he says it's fine. It's ready to go. As for Spartans quarterback Brian Hoyer, last week he received an injury to his head and his left hand. But today he says his head is feeling fine, no grogginess. And as for his left hand, he told me it's my non-throwing hand. So who really cares anyways?
As Coach Mark D'Antonio of Michigan State said, in this state you're either green or you're blue. Michigan State and Michigan, the kickoff from Ann Arbor right after this. And welcome back to the Big House. The flyover at the tail end of the national anthem moments ago. An impressive sight on a day that's gotten better as it has progressed. It was a gray morning, but as you can see, there are now patches of blue sky overhead. 50 degrees, perfect football weather. There is a gusty breeze, which will be blowing from right to left as you look down from our main cameras today. And there is a chance of a shower. We had some sprinkles here last night and this morning. You're looking at Brandon Graham. He made a lot of news this week. Right after their loss at Penn State last Saturday, Brandon Graham guaranteed victory over Michigan State. He said, we won't lose to State. They've won 6 in a row. But on the State side, a lot of those folks took it as another display of a lack of respect from Michigan toward the Spartans.
Well, yeah, and I think it is a lack of respect. And I'm not much for those guarantees because there's no accountability after. Well, we didn't win. I was wrong. That's all the accountability he has. But I look at it as Mark D'Antonio embraces this rivalry. He'll take it personal, and I think there's nothing wrong with that, especially after you lose 6 in a row and you're considered the little brother, quote unquote, from Mike Hart. You got to embrace that and put that to your team, and you challenge your team, and I'm anxious to see how the Spartans respond to the challenges that Michigan have given them.
Mark's in his second year as head coach at Michigan State, 7-6, a loss in the Champ Sports Bowl to Boston College last year. And last year in his first Michigan State game as head coach of the Spartans, his team had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, only to see it slip away in a 4-point loss. After the game, Mike Hart, the outstanding Michigan running back, likened the Spartans to Michigan's little brother. He said it's like when you play your little brother in basketball, you might let him get ahead for a while, but in the end you're going to win. And that one really rankled the coach and some of the Spartans as well. So If they needed bulletin board material, which you don't in a rivalry like this, they feel Michigan's provided plenty.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to prove here, obviously for Michigan with the type of year they're having, but I think more so for Michigan State, because what's the image that they have? They lose the tough ones and they fold up at the end of the year. Well, they're coming off a tough week against Ohio State. How are they going to respond, and are they going to respond quickly to start this game on the offensive side of the ball?
Michigan won the toss and deferred. So Michigan State and Javon Ringer will have the ball on offense to start the game. Jason Gingell to kick off with that 20-mile-per-hour wind at his back. Ashton Leggett, number 32, A.J. Jimerson, number 20, back for the opening kickoff. They've played every year since 1945, and the rivalry started back in 1898. The 101st renewal is underway. Jimerson, a moment's hesitation, and he did not make the 20-yard line. Stopped at the 17 by J.B. Fitzgerald. So here come the Spartans, 6-2 overall, 3-1 in the Big Ten. They open with a loss at Cal, then won 6 in a row before getting annihilated at home last week by Ohio State. Brian Hoyer, the fifth-year senior, like everybody on his team, has never defeated their arch rivals Michigan. Last chance today, and every senior we talked to this week said it would be devastating for them if they left without a win over the Maize and Blue. Javon Ringer in a one-back set, and they were ready for him. Today's Impact Players are brought to you by Best Buy. Up front, Roland Martin, a stalwart at right guard, making his 31st career start. Part of a terrific right side of the line with a tackle, Jesse Miller. Greg Jones, in the words of Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator, a Chris Spielman-type linebacker. That's the ultimate praise. And Otis Wiley leads the Big Ten in interceptions with 4.
Well, Michigan starting out strong. They knew they would be tested on the run up the middle. They passed the first test. Many more to come.
Hoyer comes out throwing, and he is smothered back at the 11-yard line. Brandon Graham trying to back up that prediction right away.
Well, if you're going to talk the game, you need to walk the game right here. Brandon's walking it. After he talked it, we'll take a look at Brandon right here as a defensive end and see what kind of move he hit. He gets his hands inside and a nice little rip to throw Jesse's arms off of him, and then he has the closing speed to finish along with a couple other Wolverines, including Mouton, the linebacker, coming on a blitz.
And Tim Jamison, 6 sacks this year for Graham. 3rd and long, 16 to go. Hoyer's on the money for a first down, and Mark Dell did well to hang on after the catch as he got rocked by Stevie Brown. It's the 25th catch of the year for Michigan State's leading receiver, Dell.
Well, Don Treadwell told us that Brian Hoyer improved his accuracy, and right here's a sign of it. This is a tough throw to make. 3rd down, you have to know where those receivers are in an in cut, and it's a timing route, and the timing was perfect from Hoyer to Dell.
22-yard gain, first down. Ringer cuts it ahead for 2. Tackled by the cornerback Donovan Warren. The passing game has struggled this year for Michigan State from time to time. They're 84th in the country in passing offense. Of course, they lost Devin Thomas, who was a 2nd-round pick of the Washington Redskins after he caught 79 balls last year. And the reality, you saw the low percentage for Hoyer, 49%. These receivers aren't always very open, if at all.
No, that's why. And when you talk to Treadwell about the accuracy, he doesn't make much of the 49% completion
rate. It has to be accurate, because a lot of time there's not a lot of room for error in the space between the receivers and the defensive backs. Ringer tackled by Jonas Mouton. Javon averaging 147 yards plus per game, but held to 67 last week by Ohio State. Of course, they fell behind 28-0, and that helped to take the running game away from the Spartans. And they convert again on 3rd down. Only 5 to go this time. Hoyer, another strike. A first down and much more. Blair White trying to break away. Harrison, the only man to catch him, and Brandon won't. Touchdown for the Spartans. yards.
One of the problems Michigan has had is tackling. Right here, Stevie Brown had a shot on the slant route. He missed him. Then he's automatically to the second level. The problem is, if you're Michigan, Stevie Brown's the second level. Once he gets that, Blair White shows his speed and ability to finish on a strike by Hoyer on a 3-step drop, 3-step slant, 25 steps into the end zone.
First career touchdown for the junior White, a former walk-on, now on scholarship. Brett Swenson kicked the extra point. And a great start for the Spartans, trying to put the memory of last week's debacle behind them, and that's a good way to do it. And it's more of the same for Rich Rodriguez in a very difficult first year as head coach here in Ann Arbor. The X factor, both coaching staffs talking about the importance of tackling. Neither tackled well, particularly last week. And the Michigan coach is concerned that Michigan State's going to run a few in their bag of tricks. The X Factor brought to you by Citi.
Well, they were especially concerned in Scott Schaefer with tackling on the second level, the secondary. And right there, it hurt him bad because Stevie Brown had him in his sights. And he put his head behind the ball carrier. Blair White ran through that arm tackle and showed great speed to finish. But that's something that's been a hindrance to Michigan all year on the defensive side of the ball. Their lack of ability to tackle.
There's Scott Schaefer in the middle. You can tell he's the defensive coordinator. Very upset right now in his first year here at Michigan. Was the defensive coordinator at Stanford last year under former Michigan standout quarterback Jim Harbaugh. Todd Bolesky kicks off. And it'll come down to Sam McGuffey, the freshman. And he weaved his way out to the 25. And already pushing and shoving between these ancient rivals. 20-yard return by McGuffey. And here comes Stephen Threet, the redshirt freshman from just down the road in Adrian, Michigan. Grew up a Michigan fan. His mom a Michigan graduate. His family had season tickets back before he was born. And he grew up coming to Michigan State games. What a thrill it is for him to be the quarterback for the Maize and Blue today. Did not start the season opener, has started every game since. And as Aaron told you, playing with the bad elbows. Brandon Miner ran into Orrin Wilson. And now Michigan's impact players, a lot of them are freshmen, including the redshirt Threet. 7 straight starts after Nick Sheridan started the season opener. A true freshman Martavius Odoms is their leader in receptions and receiving yards. And Terrence Taylor, a senior standout in the middle of that defensive line. He'll have his hands full trying to stop Javon Ringer today. Threet, a short throw, and it's dropped. Intended for James Rogers, a sophomore. Chris L. Rucker had the coverage. Here's Aaron.
You mentioned the pushing and the shoving. Kind of interesting the way both teams reacted to each other during pregame. During the national anthem, they brought the Spartans all the way down to their end zone, clearly away from Michigan. Now also a lot of talking early. Javon Ringer, as he walked over to his sidelines, just stood in the middle of the field and started yapping to the Wolverines. Tony Clements, an official, actually had to push him away from walking over to where the Spartans team was warming up.
Threet under duress and swung down back of the 19 by Trevor Anderson. His 6th sack of the year for the junior from Detroit, who transferred from the University of Cincinnati to Michigan State. Followed Coach D'Antonio here.
Well, again, from the outside, the pressure's coming. You see it right here. One-on-one with the back. And he just beats everybody inside. The pressure came from Greg Jones from the outside, which forced Threet to step up into the middle. And Anderson had good pressure on the bull rush up inside, caused by the pressure outside from Greg Jones.
Zoltan Mesko, one of the few highlights for Michigan this year has been his punting. They're second in the country in net punting, and that'll improve on that mark. Only Cincinnati's been better covering punts this year. 51-yard kick with no return for Keyshawn Martin. Stevie Brown, the tackle. Among those in attendance at the Big House today, Mike Hart, Michigan's all-time leading rusher. His rookie year with the Indianapolis Colts cut short by a knee injury, enabling him to be here today. 1st and 10, Michigan State. They scored a touchdown on their opening possession. Possession 2 starts with a flat pass to the fullback Hawken. Here's what Mike Hart said after Michigan rallied from 10 down to beat State last year in East Lansing. Sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball. Let him get the lead, then you come back and take it. That didn't fly with Mark D'Antonio. He said, I find a lot of the things they do amusing. They need to check themselves sometimes. Remember, pride comes before the fall.
Yeah, and I think it's good that Mark embraces that and doesn't ignore it or play it off. He gets mad about it and he passes it on to his team. See how they respond to the challenge.
Javon Ringer with running room on the corner. Lowers his shoulder and runs into Donovan Warren. Marked out of bounds near the 45-yard line. A 13-yard gain.
Now, this was Scott Schaefer was concerned about. These are kind of plays where they get Javon Ringer involved in the offense, and a way to get him outside one-on-one is a quick little swing pass, and was sprung a little bit by a nice block by number 45 Andrew Hawken, taking care of the contain.
Ringer averaging 147 per game, but under 102 of the last 3 games. Run straight ahead and got 8. And Scott Schaefer said that's another staple of this Michigan State offense. They're going to run it straight ahead right off the side of the center.
Yeah, the power play usually is designed to go out here, but Michigan State likes to run it right off the center's rear end cheek, and he does. And that's well executed by Michigan State. Now what Michigan wants to do to counter is they want to get bodies underneath that pooler to force the ball to bounce outside to the pursuit of the Wolverine defense.
Ringer carries for the first down. He'll be busy. He comes in with 263 carries for the year. That's 57 more than any other running back in the country. He's averaged over 32 carries per game. Had a game earlier this year against Indiana when he rushed 44 times. He leads the nation in carries, rush yards, rushing touchdowns, and total yards. He's not leading in rushing yards per game. That's Donald Brown of Connecticut.
He's got great stamina and gets stronger as the game goes on.
31% of his yards have been in the 4th quarter this year. Hoyer going deep, and it was well covered, looking for B.J. Cunningham. Boubacar Sissoko had the coverage. That's freshman covering freshman.
Well, Scott Schaefer told us, and Rich Rodriguez, that they want to start looking at some of their backups in the secondary, especially the young freshmen like Boubacar, who had good coverage and passed his first test as a true freshman. Also, I noticed that Charles Stewart is now playing safety for Stevie Brown, who missed the tackle on the Blair White touchdown pass.
Michigan State dominating early. Hoyer's already thrown for 100. There's the long touchdown play. Ringer is just a little over 5'9", 204 pounds, but he is powerfully built. A reason why he can take this pounding over and over and over again and still be better in the 4th quarter than he is at the start of the game. We talked to him the other day. He said, I feel as good right now as I have all year, even after 263 carries.
Well, that's amazing, but that's you can attribute that to his great conditioning, something that Mark says Javon does by example around his teammates and during practice, and how hard he practices.
They converted on 2 third downs that were key on their opening drive. Hoyer under duress, lofts it up, incomplete, threw it away in the general direction of the tight end Charlie Gant.
It's a good decision right there by Brian Hoyer, under pressure, not trying to force anything, playing a field position game. If you don't have it, don't throw an interception, throw it out of bounds, punt and play defense, punt and play defense, especially when you're punting to a team that struggles on offense.
Martavius Odoms is back for the punt from Aaron Bates. And will be down by the Spartans near the 12-yard line. Down by Greg Jones, their leading tackler defensively, out there on punt coverage as well.
Passionate about performance and proud sponsor of the Heisman Trophy.
Well, yesterday, Michigan's equipment manager John Falk put the Paul Bunyan Trophy together. winner of this game in this rivalry, has received that trophy. Got to keep it for the year dating back to 1953. Brandon Minor carries for 3 yards. This rivalry began back in 1898. They've met every year since 1945. And with the exception of World War II years 43 and 44, they've met every year since 1910. Michigan has had the upper hand lately. A lot of the games have been close. 2 of the last 5 decided in overtime. 3 swings it for Odoms, and he got walloped. Kendall Davis Clark and Ryan Allison were there. Allison, a former wide receiver, was a 5th-year senior, has made the transition to linebacker. He said it allows me to demonstrate my crazy side.
Well, he gets a little crazy side right here, along with Kendall Davis Clark. They give him the old 1-2. But it's tough to be successful throwing short passes if you don't set it up by throwing longer passes down the field. The safeties are kind of hugging that line of scrimmage and just breaking on all the short passes.
Michigan near the bottom of the country in many offensive categories. Threet did well to get away from the rush, and Greg Matthews has a first down to the 29, tackled by Jeremy Ware. Michigan is 108th in the country in total offense out of 119 teams. They're 104th in the nation in scoring offense, averaging only 18.5 points per game.
It's a sign of growth right there, Sean, of Stephen Threet. Earlier in the year, he would have tucked it and run, but he kept his eyes down the field and allowed the defense to commit. He just a little pitch and catch to the outside to Matthews for the first down.
Here's what we were talking about during the commercial. They need more design runs for Threet, who showed last week he could be an effective runner against Penn State. That one good for 7.
Brandon Minor is the best blocker. Talked to Calvin McGee yesterday. He said, I know, Coach. I said, Coach, you guys ran Threet a lot last week. He said, Chris, that's part of the offense. We have to do that to have our offense operate at full strength. And he's an effective runner, not a breakaway runner, but he's a guy who can get you 7 or 8 yards. Big, powerful kid at 6'6".
Martavius Odoms with another first down to the 41. Make it the 42. Now, Calvin McGee said yesterday, obviously people watch a lot of spread offense now all over the country. The quarterback run's a big part of it, but they didn't think it was one of Threet's strengths, and they're so thin at running back, at quarterback rather, they were a little afraid to get him banged up. But at this point in the season, the way it's going, they need to use every aspect of this offense.
Yeah, 2 and 6. If he gets banged, he gets banged.
And a difficult handoff. Brandon Minor forced to fall on it back at the 37. Calvin McGee did say if Stephen's going to run the ball, he needs to learn to finish the runs. And we saw that last week against Penn State. When he saw the tacklers coming, sometimes he'd slow down. And Calvin McGee told the young man, you're more likely to get hurt that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you see a tackler coming, you got to make a decision to become the hitter rather than the hittee. And it's not a natural instinct to do that, especially at the quarterback position. It's a good call right there, changing up the cadence.
And Orrin Wilson came across the line of scrimmage. Dave Whitvote is the referee leading this Big Ten crew.
That's something you always have to be aware of. Anytime there's a bad play, be aware of the change of the cadence to try to get that yardage back in a cheap way, in a smart way, but a cheap way.
Now Sam McGuffey's on the field with Minor. They try to loop it for Minor out of the backfield, and a flag flies as Eric Gordon knocked him down while the ball was in the air.
It's a good job of Eric Gordon with recognition, but you have to look back. You have great coverage. You're in position. Read the hands of the wide receiver. Watch Eric. Eric's running with Brandon Minor. Fine. Just turn and make a play on the football. You don't need to do that. You're in good position. Trust your skills.
That's number 43. The penalty is first down at the spot of the foul.
And trust the read that you have on Brandon Minor. You can run with him, cover him.
I thought it was a bad call. No, I'm kidding. That was about as easy as they get. Gordon, second year starting outside linebacker, plays the weak side. Their second leading tackler is a good player. 3 with the option look. McGuffey, the true freshman out of Cypress, Texas, who's their leading rusher, averaging 66 yards per game. But last week at Penn State, he got only 4 carries. Brandon Minor healthy. They wanted more of a power back as the featured runner last week. So Minor took charge as the featured back last week.
Well, this is a little bit of a different look now where they have McGuffey and Minor in the backfield at the same time. Much like Owen Schmidt and Steve Slayton at West Virginia. The problem is none of those guys are 245 pounds like the big fullback in Owen Schmidt.
And McGuffey and Minor out there together. There's McGuffey very near another first down. The Spartans are saying the ball is out, and they have it, and the officials concur. Marcus Hyde, a reserve defensive back, recovered the fumble. And that's more of the same for Michigan. One of the reasons why their offense has been bad. They turn the ball over with alarming regularity. That is their 21st turnover of the year. They missed the start of their 8th game.
I see a good job of a lot of green helmets getting down there. I don't know if he was down. He might have been down before that ball came out, but it's something, as you said, Sean, that's been killing them all year. Every time they get something going, they have this now. To me, it looked like he was down, but we'll have to take a closer look.
Hyde the recovery. Kendall Davis Clark and Michael Jordan helped pull it out, and McGuffey is still down. We welcome you back to Ann Arbor. There was an official review of this play. The ruling on the field was a fumble by Sam McGuffey. And just a moment ago, Dave Whitvote announced that after the review by Jim Augustine in the booth, the play stands as called. It was a fumble. It was close, but it did look like the ball was sliding out just before McGuffey was down. McGuffey walked off the field under his own power. So here come the Spartans. 3:22 to go in the first quarter, leading 7-0. Javon Ringer for about 4. And let's check in back in the studio. Here's Matt Weiner.
Thanks, and hi, everyone. I'm here all throughout your game to let you know what's happening, beginning with this Taco Bell update. Texas is #1 in the BCS, #1 in the polls, and leading on the scoreboard against Oklahoma State. Colt McCoy to his roommate Jordan Shipley, 7-0 there. Georgia scored a defensive touchdown, now punched in an offensive one, leads at LSU 14-7.
Texas, the #1 team in the first BCS standings of this year. Hoyer lost the football. Stevie Brown has it. No whistle. The play still live, and he goes down at the 16-yard line.
Stevie Brown making amends. Getting benched, getting a second opportunity. You'll see Stevie Brown coming from this side. He's going to be in on this play. Here comes the pressure. With Brandon Graham up the middle. Terrence Taylor, Mike Martin up the middle. Stevie Brown knocks it off. Does a good job of picking up and trying to score.
Now there might be a challenge by the Michigan State staff as to whether that was a fumble.
Timeout. Michigan State. Michigan State is challenging the ruling on the field.
Mark D'Antonio is way down at the 20-yard line trying to get the attention of the officiating crew. Well, prior to last week, Michigan State was one of the best in the country in turnover margin. They were +10 as they built a 6-1 record. Is he down? Well, he might be. But last week, when they got their doors blown off by Ohio State, they were -5. They turned it over 5 times without a takeaway against the Buckeyes.
A lot of those were on forced errors like that one. If that call holds up on the field, which I think it will, to me it looked like the ground knocked the ball loose while he was still in play.
Brian Hoyer's had an up and down ride in his 2 years as starting quarterback. 13-9 as a starter after taking over for Drew Stanton, who mentored him during Brian's time as a backup. Dave Warner, the quarterback's coach, who was a fine player at Syracuse. They're talking to Hoyer. We get the sense, you know, Hoyer's one of those guys talking to the Spartan fans around here, you know, Some days he's great, and other days, as in the bowl game against Boston College, he's not so great.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that when you have a running back like Javon Ringer, he's really got to come out and take advantage of the defenses that he sees. And he did that the first series.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble. First down.
Good call.
Michigan State will be charged their first timeout.
And a good challenge by Mark D'Antonio. I mean, that was such a big play. You might as well challenge it, especially in the first half, losing the timeout.
He was not able to tuck and protect, and the ground caused the fumble, and Stevie Brown, alert, picks it up and advances.
And now Stephen Threet ready to go, and they take advantage of the Michigan State turnover. Threet dropped for a loss of a yard on the design run. Justin Kershaw made the tackle. He is an outstanding player, senior from Columbus, Ohio, making his 30th career start in the middle of that defensive front for Michigan State.
Yeah, he won his one-on-one individual battle, which you have to do inside as a defensive tackle. If you're not being double teamed, you're lined up in the gap. Just run down that gap just like he did, and was able to stop Threet for a 1-yard loss. But Michigan will continue to run Threet to get him going a little bit, to get their offense going.
Threet throws on the run, and he did not turn it over. Almost did, but Chris L. Rucker couldn't hang on, and he's distraught because that looked like a certain interception when the ball was in the air. They have two Chris Ruckers, so this is Chris L. Rucker, who's a defensive back, and that's why he's a defensive back.
He's in good position, and I thought Odom ran the wrong route. If he would have turned to the outside, Threet could have thrown it outside because no Michigan State defensive back was in position on the outside. Odom turned it up inside, allowing position to come from Rucker to knock it down.
On 3rd and 11, Threet throws back to the near side, and it is caught, but out of bounds. Brandon Miner made the catch. Eric Gordon had the coverage, the official right there, and deemed Miner to be out of bounds.
Official timeout for an injured Michigan State player.
This time, better coverage on the outside by Eric Gordon. Doesn't force anything, looks back for the ball and uses his body to look and lean. And Brandon Miner is out of bounds. He came down on the cone, but his foot was out of bounds. Good coverage that time. Lesson learned by Eric Gordon.
And the first foot came down out of bounds. Trevor Anderson injured on the play and now walking off without assistance. He's from Detroit, as mentioned, started his career at Cincinnati. Wanted to come with Mark D'Antonio when Coach D'Antonio left the Bearcats to come to East Lansing. We're going to review the last play. Mark D'Antonio actually encouraged Trevor Anderson not to transfer, despite the fact that he was a terrific player at UC. Trevor had an awful lot of academic work that he had to get done to make the transfer possible, and originally Cincinnati wasn't going to release him from his scholarship, meaning Anderson would have had to pay his own way at Michigan State. But Trevor did the academic work, and eventually the Bearcats did release him.
I don't know what they're reviewing there. Clearly, good job of adjusting with his hips and turning for the football. Self-explanatory.
So 1:50 to go as they tend to Anderson. Here in the first quarter, Michigan State leads 7-0 on the first touchdown reception of his career for Blair White. Mark D'Antonio, 52-year-old native of Zanesville, Ohio. Assistant at Michigan State back in the late 90s.
The player possessed the ball in the air. His right foot hit the pylon. Therefore, it is a touchdown.
I wonder if the ball was across the plane. That would be the question.
Well, I think what he's saying is because he clipped the pylon on the way down, he's in bounds, even though when he landed and hit the ground, he was across the sideline. I've never seen that before. I mean, he is stepping on the pylon. Casey Lapata kicks the extra point. So what a break for Michigan. And they could use every break they can get. And Mark D'Antonio doesn't like that turn of events at all, and he wants an explanation.
Well, I thought that the ball has to cross the plane. Now let's see. It crosses the plane right there, and if the pylon, what they're saying is the pylon is part of the field, and I guess the ground rises with the pylon. That's the only explanation that I have, right?
Stephen Threet liked what he heard. And Mark D'Antonio is irate.
Again, that was an excellent catch by Brandon Minor against good coverage by Eric Gordon, and Brandon Minor adjusts his hips, turns his hips. Stephen Threet threw it away from the coverage, and Michigan got a break, something they haven't been getting all year.
So Jason Gingell will kick off for Michigan. On the board, a 19-yard touchdown pass. Capitalizing on the Hoyer fumble. Good kick by Gingell. A.J. Jimerson brought it out of the end zone and made it to the 25. Let's check in with John Saunders. Get a Vizio Sports Center right now.
Powered by Vizio, Sean, and Texas Tech's Graham Harrell continues what might be a run to a Heisman Trophy. 16-yard pass to Michael Crabtree. 49-14 at that point. Harrell had 5 touchdown passes and a run. And this is the Breeders' Cup Mile. Golden Cova, the horse in the lead, and retains it down the stretch to win the Breeders' Cup Mile. This is been your Sports Center right now, powered by Vizio.
John, thank you. 1st and 10, Michigan State. Javon Ringer ahead for a yard, and he and Taylor do some woofing. We visited with Terrence Taylor yesterday, and he was talking about what Brandon Graham said, and there he is next to Graham, guaranteeing victory. Terrence Taylor said, we didn't ask Brandon why he said it. It's our job to back him up. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely, and right now Terrence Taylor is doing a good job of plugging that middle on that inside power play, taking on double teams and making a pile.
That's an excellent play. And he's there again. 3rd-year starter, senior, out of Muskegon, Michigan, about 2 hours from here. Youngest of 4 children. He has 3 older sisters, he told us yesterday. We said, well, you must be pampered. He said, no, I was just loved.
He was loved.
A nice thing to be.
And he's lost about 20 pounds coming into this year. Become an active football player inside right there. Did a nice job of playing across the double team and getting in on a tackle again.
And Brandon was 328 after the bowl game last year. Yesterday he told us he weighed in at 302. Sweet. 3rd down and 9. Hoyer got it off to Ringer, and he has the 1st down. Well, you can tell this is a rivalry game. There are a lot of pads smacking out there right now. Obi Aze made the tackle on Ringer. Gain of 12. Another 3rd down conversion for Michigan State. Jimmy Johnson looks to score his 2nd straight victory. Puts some distance between himself and fellow championship contenders Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, and Carl Edwards. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at Atlanta on ABC tomorrow. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 1 Eastern Time.
Rubbin's racing. Can't be loose going into those corners.
4 races to go. Jimmy Johnson with the lead. 3 seconds in the quarter. There is a flag down.
Illegal substitution. 12 men on defense in the huddle. 5 yards. The down remains first.
Right there, just on that last play, Sean, just to point out,
the end of the 1st quarter.
Obi had a chance to make the tackle. It's like he made the tackle, but it's like a missed tackle because he had him at 5 yards short of the 1st down. Javon made a quick little move, accelerated to get the 1st down. Just like a missed tackle. Keep your eye on those all day.
End of a quarter here in Ann Arbor. Michigan State and Michigan tied at 7. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Aaron Andrews at Michigan Stadium. 101st meeting between Michigan State and Michigan, tied at 7. And as usual, when these ancient rivals get together, hard hitting and a little controversy already. Hoyer pressured again and forced to throw it away. It is a young, relatively inexperienced team for Michigan, but not on that defensive front. The front four is 3 seniors and a junior, all of them talented.
A good discipline by Brandon Graham, not getting sucked inside on the play action of Javon Ringer, staying upfield and not letting Hoyer get outside contain and forcing a poor throw with a good hit on Brian Hoyer.
Taken down by Tim Jamison. Well, Hoyer had to leave the game last week in the second half. Stayed in the game for a while after this hit from James Laurinaitis.
Looked a lot like the hit put on by him by Brandon Graham. He bounced up from Brandon's.
And Hoyer said he was a little bit fuzzy. They don't think he had a concussion. He practiced all week. Passed some mental tests on the sidelines. Actually went back in for 1 series. Ringer on 3rd down and 1 has the first down, but the game was so one-sided. Then they elected to stay with the redshirt freshman Kirk Cousins, the backup quarterback, who played very well in the second half against Ohio State last week.
And you get the sense, talking to Don Treadwell, that they're very comfortable with Kirk Cousins if he has to come into the game. But right here, they're leaning on their senior leader in Brian Hoyer, who so far has played pretty well, except for the fumble. Has thrown the ball nice, controlling his team, managing the game, just like you want your senior to do.
Ball start. Offense 79, 5 yards. The down remains first.
Jesse Miller, the excellent right tackle, senior from Somerville, New Jersey, making his 33rd career start. That is the strength of that offensive line, the right side, with Roland Martin, the guard, and Miller at tackle.
And sometimes you get a little nervous. Brandon Graham's getting off the football, and you want to counter that if you're a big offensive lineman. Make sure you get off and you jump the count.
Hoyer throws. And Keyshawn Martin, the catch, about 2 yards short of the first down. He's a true freshman, shoved out by another true freshman, Boubacar Sissoko. 7th catch of the year for Keyshawn Martin from Inkster, Michigan. He was a quarterback in high school last year. Not highly recruited. His athletic director at his high school and junior varsity basketball coach sent a highlight tape around. A lot of the coaching staffs that saw that tape couldn't believe he wasn't being recruited, including Michigan and Michigan State and Illinois, among others. Ringer carries for a first down to the 35-yard line, taken down by Obi Aze and Charles Stewart.
And here's the difference. Where's Michigan been hitting it up here all day? Michigan State has been on the power. The difference is Javon Ringer is not going to hit it inside. Look, he does a good job with his vision and bounces it outside. A nice little juke move on Brandon Harrison for the extra 8 yards. A little different look off the power. Instead of hitting it inside, start bouncing it outside. Now you got Michigan guessing on defense. Is he going in or he's going out?
Andrew Hawken, tackled by Boubacar Sissoko.
They're working on that true freshman out there. Michigan's protecting him a little bit, playing zone, but eventually they're going to have to challenge Michigan State and play man-to-man, especially when you have a fullback lined up as a wide receiver. Go ahead and put your corner on him. Let him play man-to-man. See if he can match up.
7-yard gain, 2nd and 3. Andre Anderson has come in to give Ringer a breather. 7-7 game early in the second quarter. Anderson A hard-earned yard. Charles Stewart drove him back. The ball is out, and Michigan has it. It's Terrence Taylor. For the second week in a row, the Spartans struggling with turnovers. They've been so good in that area prior to last week.
Charles Stewart comes up and puts his head right on the football. Andre's trying to fight for possession, and Obieze comes in and swats it out. Now there's a big scrum for it, and the big fella, Terrence Taylor, eats it up.
On first down for Michigan. Brandon Minor back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Brandon Long made the tackle. Defensive end from Canton, Ohio.
Brandon did a good job of coming from the backside, because Michigan on the side of the play that was run had a hat on a hat. Nobody accounted for the speedy Brandon Long coming from his backside defensive end position.
Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator, said during the week that Brandon Long's had a very good year. He did, however, have a tough time on the edge last week with Terrell Pryor and the Ohio State Buckeyes. 3 ahead for 2. Eric Gordon wrapped him up. Let's take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. Michigan State scored on its opening possession, and they had the edge statistically in the first quarter with 115 yards to 46 for Michigan. But that one state turnover led directly to the Wolverines' touchdown.
Give credit to Michigan for taking advantage of the turnover by Michigan State. Again, something they haven't capitalized throughout the year.
Third down and 8 from the 28. 3 throws a wobbler, incomplete, intended for Martavius Odoms. It fluttered past Eric Gordon, who looked like he might have a shot at an interception.
And 3 right there was pointing to his elbow. I think the ball was tipped or his arm was hit. It disrupted the pass. See Anderson push, not quitting on the play, and hit him right in the elbow, which prevented the follow through, which forced the ball to come up short.
Zoltan Mesko will punt to Keyshawn Martin. This one's into the wind. He boomed a 51-yarder with the wind in the first quarter. He gets a nice roll here.
Go catch it. Save yourself some yards. Come on now.
Long snapper Sean Griffin there to down him. Another 51-yard boot by Mesko. Let's go back to the Michigan touchdown. We finally had communication from the replay booth. Jim Augustine, the replay official, overturned the original call of incomplete pass. He said Minor had possession of the ball and broke the play in the end zone. When he landed on the pylon that's in the end zone, therefore it's a touchdown. Even though when his foot hit the ground, he was out of bounds. Keyshawn Martin almost broke free. Knocked down by Brandon Harrison. There are late flags thrown at the 47-yard line. 25-yard gain. And there might be a late hit as well. Looked like Ryan Van Bergen might have been late to the party.
Foul, defense 53 with a late hit. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Rich is getting on him, but I tell you, you want to keep hustling and playing. Let's see if this, yeah, he's down. You got to try to come up off of that or avoid the hit. And you don't think it's just a power O with a different guy running. You see the pullers outside getting a hat on Stevie Brown. Joel Foreman getting that big body downfield. And it's good hustle by Michigan, but you got to be a smart player in that. And you noticed on the ground, Mark D'Antonio was the first one to help his Spartan up. He's fired up and in this ball game.
Ron Ringer. And running very close to the hip of that center. Joel Nitchman, they have an excellent center. Will Johnson and Terrence Taylor made the tackle.
I just laughed there a little bit, Sean, because I ISO'd right there on Joel Nitchman, and he took his guy and gave him the old The old pancake block, where you're driving a defender back and putting him on his back, and that's exactly what Joel did, allowing that space to run up the middle on the power O play.
Nitschmann, one of the characters on the team. His teammates talk about how funny he is. Actively involved in a number of student organizations. Mark Dell to his knees to make the catch, shy of the first down by about 1.5 yards.
Warriors reading every blitz, and understanding, seeing the backside corner. That's away from the 3 receivers side, playing off, so it's just pitch and catch. And a veteran back there understanding what Michigan's doing and exploiting the weakness of the defense, where Donovan Warren was playing so far off. All he can do is watch the guy catch the ball and go out of bounds. But a good job by Warrior of recognition.
Another 3rd down and short. They're 4 out of 5 on 3rd down today. Ringer won't get there. Bounced off the original hit, but had nowhere to run. Obieze leading the way. Stevie Brown up from his safety spot. Brandon Harrison, who is a lifelong pal of Ringer's. They played football together from the 7th grade through high school in Dayton, Ohio.
Watch Obieze go ahead and tap Terrence Taylor, which will send Terrence right through this gap. See Terrence hit that gap and knock off of a pooler, which knocks him into the ball carrier. Big Terrence is hustling and playing, allowing havoc, making him run a hump. That means go backwards for the Wolverine defense to catch up.
Tim Jamison with the original hit. So here's Brett Swenson, one of the best kickers in the country. He's made 15 in a row, a school record. This is a 50-yarder, and it is short, and it'll be run out by Donovan Warren. Flag down on the return. Warren down at the 27-yard line. Looked like there was an illegal block on the return. To the chagrin of Rich Rodriguez. Give Rich and his coaching staff credit for having a man back there to run it back.
Absolutely. And Michigan State, a poor job of covering on the kick. I believe they're going to get Morgan Trent.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Returning team number 90. 10 yards from the spot of the
Jamison, Tim Jamison. But a good job of execution of Michigan, getting field position.
Swenson had it on line. It was just a little bit short from 50 with the win.
ESPN College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the all-new Dodge Ram. Never back down from a challenge. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Look at the diag in the center of the Michigan campus. The block M engraved into the ground. Students camp out there this week to make sure that it doesn't get painted green by Spartan fans. They're also helping to raise money to fight multiple sclerosis. Rich Rodriguez bought them pizzas earlier this week. They've been camped out there since Tuesday night. Brandon Miner on 1st down from the 10. Got a yard before he was tackled by Greg Jones, that Chris Spielman type player. Pat Narduzzi talking about Jones's intensity that resembles yours.
Well, I think Greg has come along and playing the middle linebacker position. They move him around. Probably a better athlete than me. That's for sure. Greg's a good young player.
Now a sophomore out of Cincinnati, their leading tackler, leads in tackles for a loss as well. Trying to get Miner going. Very little luck so far. That is his 5th carry of the game. He was tackled by Dwayne Holmes, a backup defensive lineman, and Greg Jones. It's 5 carries for 9 yards right now for Brandon Miner, coming off his season high 117 yards at Penn State last week.
I like the fact that they're sticking with the ground game, because if they try to throw it, they're not very successful. At least now they got 5 yards there. That gives them a manageable 3rd down. Just keep pounding away. If you're Michigan, that's what you want to do, and get yourself in manageable 3rd downs.
Blitz by Michigan State, 3. And it was almost intercepted. Greg Matthews had Johnny Adams cutting right in front of him. That might have distracted Matthews and been the reason why he didn't catch it. Adams was thinking about the pick and the 6.
You see the blitz coming right inside. They're bringing 6, forcing a quick rush. A good job by 3 to recognizing the blitz and getting rid of it with Kershaw on his face. But Johnny Adams just missed the ball. Michigan avoided a big play turnover right there.
Johnny Adams is a true freshman cornerback. Coach Narduzzi very high on his potential. Nesko hits it high up in the air. Zoltan's punt caught by Keyshawn Martin with a fair catch. 37-yard punt. Back in Ann Arbor, still tied at 7. Michigan State's had the decided edge in total yardage. They've outgained Michigan 182-54. The turnovers have hurt Michigan State. They've turned it over twice. Once leading to a touchdown for Michigan. Obieze stops Ringer on first. Check in again with Aaron Andrews.
Offense was coming off the field. Head coach Rich Rodriguez intercepted his quarterback and said, look, you've got to see the whole field. You're not looking. You've got X over here, you've got Y over here, and you don't see any of them. On the other side of the field, Michigan State's defense getting a lot of praise from their head coach Mark D'Antonio. He's telling them, look, their offensive line, they cannot block you at all. Keep the pressure up.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Hoyer forced to turn and throw, and it's incomplete. Charlie Gant, the tight end, spinning around. Brandon Harrison had the coverage.
Bryant throws hands to his head right there because Gant wasn't looking for the football. Hoyer does a good job of extending the pocket and rushed the throw a little bit. But Gant didn't know the ball was coming, and he threw it behind on purpose to give Gant a chance to come back and make the ball. The problem is Gant has to look for it and know that he's eligible.
Third down and 10. Hoyer with time, incomplete, broken up by Boubacar Sissoko. Intended for Mark Dell. Looked like he got his hands on it.
It's a nice job by Sissoko right here, playing inside, and a good break on the football, avoiding the interference and coming across with the left arm to rip. Now, I think Dell let that ball come to his chest a little bit. I would like to see him to avoid that, go out and extend his arms to catch it. Sissoko answering the call as a true freshman, breaking it up.
And Bates, a booming punt with the wind, and it gets a nice bounce. And they're going to down it near the 5-yard line. Coach D'Antonio told us he has an amazing knack for getting the ball down inside the 10. Demonstrated it right there with the help of a friendly hop. 48-yard punt. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Aaron Andrews, our producer, Josh Hoffman, our director, Mike Roig, our outstanding ESPN ABC crew. Delighted to have you with us. Michigan State trying to win here in Ann Arbor for the first time since 1990. The home teams won 13 of the last 16. The 3 road wins have all been by Michigan. Up the road in East Lansing, Brandon Miner on first down from just shy of the 6. Got about 3 before Michael Jordan took him down.
It's a luxury Pat Narduzzi has, stepped at that front 4, rolling guys in and out. And Michigan in their coming out offense, going old school with the I formation, trying to get something going.
Rich Rodriguez said Miner really would have been the featured back to start the year, returning with his experience and talent, but injuries helped keep him on the sideline and give Sam McGuffey the opportunity. The freshman did a nice job taking advantage of that chance. 3 out of the end zone. Throws into coverage. It's intercepted by Marcus Hyde. And he brings it back to the 41.
We'll see Stephen 3 right here go over to Rich Rodriguez to see how Rich greets him. Because he is not seeing the whole field. He had Stoneham running deep on the post to give his guy a chance. And they're trying to run Mundros up the field in good position right there by Marcus Hyde. And 3 just throws it up for grabs, not giving his guy a chance. Man to man. They can't get loose and they can't get open from the stifling coverage of the Spartan defense.
First interception of the year for the sophomore Hyde. So each team has turned it over twice. And neither's done anything impressive offensively since Michigan State's first series of the game. Martin throws it back to Hoyer, and he has blockers inside the 20. And runs out of bounds near the 17-yard line, chased out by John Thompson. Well, Scott Schaefer said we know Michigan State 3 or 4 times is going to dig into the bag of tricks. We need to stop those trick plays. They didn't stop this one.
Watch this offensive line. If you normally see a screen pass out here, offensive lineman will go out there. Javon Ringer captures everybody's attention. They do a good job of selling it. Now all of a sudden somebody blocks Donovan Warren. Hoyer might not have to slow down, and the lineman can get downfield, but an excellent call after a turnover by Mark D'Antonio.
Good for a 24-yard gain. Back to Ringer, who for the second week in a row is having difficulty finding any running room. He got a couple to the 15-yard line before Will Johnson got him on the ground.
Coach D'Antonio is going to keep pounding the football. That's what he does. He wants to run it. He wants to be physical. And even if they're stopping it, they're going to keep running, and they'll set play action off of it, off that run, that power O up inside. Big Terrence has been stout in there, Sean.
He certainly has been. We refer to this as the state championship game. Hoyer in the direction of Jeff McPherson. One of 3 fullbacks rotate in for the Spartans, and it was incomplete. 3.5 minutes to go till the half. Michigan State and Michigan tied at 7. And Hoyer, who started the game 4 for 4, is now 8 out of 14.
A couple things to think of. It's not bad to run a screen in the red zone. I know a lot of offenses don't like to do it. It's usually a pretty good time to run it. And also, if you're Michigan, you have big Charlie Gant, the tight end, at 6'4". That's a nice target down here, number 83.
They're having trouble getting up to run the play, so Mark D'Antonio called for another timeout, leaving the Spartans with 1.
Hey, you look good, Green.
Timeout, 7-7 with 3.5 to go in the first half. Third down, 8 yards to go for a Michigan State first down. They're in field goal range. Hoyer throws toward the corner of the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Mark Dell. Morgan Trent had the coverage. Coach Schaefer said yesterday we're going to play Trent, Donovan Warren, and Sissoko. Really a 3-cornerback rotation, and try to figure out which 2 out of the 3 is playing the best.
It's a good job of Morgan Trent getting up in press coverage and playing the football, undercutting a route, understanding what kind of space that the receiver had to work with in the end zone, knowing he was running out of real estate.
Trent's a 5th-year senior, 3rd-year starter. So here's Swenson, who made 15 in a row for his 50-yard try earlier in this quarter. Was short. This one's blocked by John Thompson. Picked up by Donovan Warren, but he's marked down back at the 9-yard line. With the exception of punt coverage, the Michigan special teams have done very little in a positive vein this year. Now, this is a big play.
John Thompson comes inside, and you see Gant looking and saying, oh no, that's my guy. You see John Thompson split the double team. He got skinny, got in between that crack, and got the big paw up in the air. And good job of getting that penetration. You want to make the pressure come from the outside. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, as we all know. John Thompson had a straight beeline to the blocked field goal.
Would that be a John Beeline?
Yes, it would. There you go. I was waiting for it.
Michigan basketball coach here.
Yes, sir.
Blitz on first down. Threet got it off. Martavius Odoms lunges to the 16-yard line. Ross Weaver tripped him up. Here's Aaron.
Sean, it'll be interesting to see what that big play on special teams does for this offense. Before that happened, I was watching them on the sidelines, and everybody on that offense had their heads down. Made me think, Chris Spielman, of the conversation Rich Rodriguez told me about how he has been so demanding on this team, trying to teach them a new system, and he says he doesn't want to hurt their confidence, but he expects a lot from them.
3. Stop just short of the first down. I guess there is a fine line. Your team's down already. You're trying to get them to play the way you want them to, but at the same time, you don't want to break them.
Well, I think the thing, if you play with Rich Rodriguez, you can't have thin skin. Everybody knows he's a tough guy, and you've got to be able to handle it. He's going to demand them. He's going to demand everything you have from his football players. That's what he does. That's what he always has done.
The play stands. Martavius Odoms has the first down, but there was a flag thrown, and it's a holding call against Michigan.
But they got to be able to respond. And they're responding now. They're hanging in there. The defense is hanging in there, playing tough. The offense has to get something going.
Offense number 50. After distance from the previous spot. Repeat the down.
David Molt, the freshman center. And they lost 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen off last year's team. Rich Rodriguez with only 1 returning starter on offense. That was the right tackle, Stephen Schilling. They lost the #1 pick in the draft, Jake Long, the great tackle, Chad Henne, their all-time passer, Mike Hart, their all-time leading rusher. 2 receivers who went early, and both were drafted. And Mario Manningham and Adrian Arrington. And this was going to be a transition year, regardless if it was a transition to a new coaching staff or not. Here's 3. Taking it down. He won't quite get the first down. Stopped at the 18-yard line. About a yard short of the marker. Brandon Denson, a good job at taking down 3.
That's one thing that crushes Rich and upsets him, and it should as the head football coach. You have 3rd and 1 as opposed to 3rd and 11, and your options are so limited. 3 tried to get there, but 3 does not. He's a tough runner, but he's not that breakaway runner that you need to operate this offense. That's what he's saying. Dive for that first down. Go get it.
Yeah, we talked about how the coaches wanted to finish runs. He finished that run short of the first down. Obviously, Rodriguez thought he could have given a better effort at the end of the run. There's Zoltan Mesko. They let the clock run down. Michigan State elected not to use the timeout there. They have just 1 left, and again, Mesko gets plenty on the roll. It winds up a 46-yard punt. Before today's game, as we pose to you the Aflac trivia question, we want to know, before today's game, when was the last time that Michigan and Michigan State played each other when neither team was ranked, as is the case today? Michigan State slid out of the rankings after their loss at home to Ohio State last week.
Here's where you like your senior. 1:17 to go in a half. Clock management.
Javon Ringer bounces off the pile. He has 4.3 speed. They do have an angle on him, but it's a defensive lineman, Graham, who won't catch him. Touchdown, Michigan State, 64 yards.
We talked about it, Sean. They're going to keep running it and running it and running it. Why? Because he's going to keep hitting it, and Javon Ringer, you don't stop him, he'll bounce off, and this is where he fools you. This is the 2nd gear. I see a big lineman chase me. Guess what, guys? I got a 3rd gear, and that'll take me home.
His national leading 15th rushing touchdown of the season. 64 yards, or 2 touchdown plays, 61 yards and 64 yards. Swenson adds the extra point. 14-7 Michigan State, close to the half. Well, there are plenty of green-clad Spartan fans in attendance. They're making noise. In the corner of the stadium to our right, just behind the point from which Michigan State will kick off. They tee it up. Let's give you the answer to the Aflac trivia question. The last time neither team was ranked, time of their meeting, 1998. Both teams were 1-2 when Michigan won here in Ann Arbor. Todd Bolesky kicks off. Boubacar Sissoko. Good return to the 36. 54 seconds left in the half and 3 timeouts for Michigan. They are not a down the field passing attack. ABC Thursday 10/9 Central. An all new Life on Mars. The next great cop show has arrived, starring Michael Imperioli, Harvey Keitel, and Jason O'Mara, after an all new Grey's Anatomy.
See if Michigan decides to get aggressive. Nothing to lose. Go ahead and run your offense and try to get something going before the half ends.
They've had 76 yards of offense here in the first half. 3 throws caught at the 31-yard line. Kevin Koger, the tight end. 34-yard gain. Freshman, true freshman, with just his 5th catch of the year. 3 of those came last week at Penn State. He's an emerging target for 3.
It's a 2-deep look. The linebacker didn't carry the tight end down the middle. 3 let him clear and dropped it in.
I'm not sure that this is field goal range yet. Lopato will be kicking into a pretty stiff breeze. 3. They're in field goal range at the very least now. He was chopped down by Ross Weaver at the 14, and it looked like Steve was lunging at the end to make sure the coach knew he was trying to get every inch out of that run.
Yep, and he's trying, and believe me, it's a hard thing to do, and Coach Rodriguez is going to challenge him to do it. And there's a timeout taken by Michigan to make sure you get what you want called.
They're first.
Rich Rodriguez thought it should have been stopped because he was out of bounds. And I think you and I have been impressed by Rich. We've had the Michigan team now these last 2 weeks. He has been upbeat. He's saying and doing all the right things. But I think today we're starting to see a lot of that fire we saw for many years at West Virginia. I think the disappointments and aggravation of the season are starting to take their toll.
Well, a little bit, and he's going to fight. And he's been through this before. He knows it. The kids are having a hard time adjusting to this, but they're fighting, and that's what you want to see. And I knew they would fight. They're Michigan guys. I mean, it's a program that's proud. Just on that last play.
Did it hurt you to say that as an Ohio State man?
No, I've had great respect for Michigan. I don't like to see them win. Just kidding. I have great respect for him and what Rich is going to do. And they're fighting. They're fighting against their arch rival. But when you throw the ball down the field, that opened that quarterback draw because the linebackers are saying, I got to get some depth. Well, as soon as they get depth, old Stephen 3 takes it and runs it right up the middle. You see right there. And you got your receivers blocking downfield. If you're Rich Rodriguez, all you want to do is keep seeing your guys pushing and playing hard.
And Rich has had no problems at all with the effort, the attitude. His team has been playing hard. They just haven't executed well enough. They've been outplayed here in the first half, but they're poised to tie it as they head into the break. 3 lobs it up, corner of the end zone, flags down for pass interference. Martavius Odom's the intended receiver, and he got tangled up with Chris L. Rucker.
See, this is called an inside fade. See, he's running a fade route, but his shoulders are faced inside. Don't put your hands on him. It's a good call by the officials. You're in good position. Don't put your hands. Use your body and look and lean. But Stephen Threed has to throw that ball to the outside, Sean, away from the defensive back. Even though Martavius is facing inside, let him adjust on the football when the ball's thrown outside to the back pylon.
You saw the brace on Rucker. He's playing with a dislocated elbow. Injured a couple of weeks ago against Iowa. 1st and goal, 23 seconds left. Line of scrimmage, the 2. Minor bulls into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan.
It's all about the surge. There was a huge surge on that offensive line, and Boger next and blew Michigan State off the football into the end zone.
J.C. Lopato to tie the game. It's 14-all with 20 seconds to go until halftime. Well, they're not a quick strike offense. They haven't been this year. They're not a down-the-field passing attack. They struck quickly, and the big pass down the field was the key. Minor has scored both touchdowns today in their last 5 overall. Just 3 plays and 42 seconds to cover the 65 yards.
It's amazing what some big plays will do, not only to your whole team, the crowd, but the offensive line, the guys that are doing battle up front. On the snap of that football, they took the Michigan State defensive line, made a conscious decision to knock them out, and Brandon Miner gets going downhill straight ahead. He's tough to bring down, and you're not going to stop him short.
These fans disappointed that they've been supportive in a vocal way here today. Not used to seeing a 2-5 team. Worst start since 1967 for Michigan. Coincidentally, that's the last year they had a losing record. That streak's in serious jeopardy. They need to win 4 of their last 5 to have a non-losing season and qualify for a bowl game for the 34th year in a row. Andrew Hawken got on the kickoff at the 24. Tonight, the battle for first place in the Big Ten. It's college football on ABC. Saturday night football, undefeated, 3rd-ranked Penn State takes on Terrell Pryor, Jim Tressel, the 9th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. And the Buckeyes spoiled Penn State's run toward a possible national championship. Saturday night football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC tonight at 8 Eastern. Hoyer will take a knee and the teams will regroup after an entertaining first 30 minutes of football. Michigan State outgained Michigan 270 to 129. But yet they're tied at 14 as they make their way into the same tunnel for halftime. Here's Aaron.
Coach, what was the difference in that drive right there for your offense?
Well, we execute a little bit. We just some lack of execution on both sides of the ball. Gave up a couple big plays on defense. We got to get that short up. And then obviously offensive, we got to get some field position and start executing a little better.
We've seen some colorful messages to Stephen Threed over here on the sidelines. What do you tell him over here during halftime?
Steve's a conscientious guy. He knows as soon as what's going on, what mistakes he's made. He just got to relax a little bit and just execute the offense.
All right, Rich, thanks.
We're at halftime. Michigan State and Michigan tied at 14. Coming up after the break, the complete halftime report from New York.
It's time. This telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Pioneer's new Kuro.
Michigan State Spartans making their way back onto the field for the second half. 101st meeting all time between these in-state rivals. And they're tied at 14 as they get ready for the second half. Michigan State jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Then a controversial touchdown scored by Michigan. Brandon Miner the catch on a 3rd down play. Originally ruled an incomplete pass. After replay review, it was reversed by Jim Augustine in the replay booth. We have been thumbing through the rule book throughout the rest of that first half. The best we can find that would seem to cover it. Section 2 that talks about out of bounds. Article 1B, a player, an airborne player touches a pylon, is out of bounds. We made several calls during the half to the replay booth, and in fairness to them, their phone has been working intermittently. We saw that when we paid a visit in person at the half. But I think the question that we asked several times in the replay booth and really didn't get answered, okay, their interpretation was the pylon's always been considered a part of the end zone. So when he hit the pylon with his foot, he's in the end zone. But he landed out of bounds, right. And this would say an airborne player who hits the pylon is out of bounds.
I guess the only thing I can come up with as an explanation is that they're considering the pylon as an extension of the turf field, which I'm not aware of. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm just not aware of that.
Part of the ground.
Yeah.
When we asked them about that, they didn't answer it either. So I think there was some confusion, to be fair, in the replay booth. And we have given them a number of opportunities to clarify us, and I don't think either one of us was satisfied that it was clarified.
Not yet.
Todd Bolesky's kickoff is downed, and Aaron was with Mark D'Antonio.
Sean, I had a chance to ask head coach Mark D'Antonio about the call, what was explained to him when it was reversed, and he told me the officials down on the field, they don't make the call. The guys in the replay booth do. And I said, well, so what explanation were you given? And he said, They don't make the call, and he said, I feel bad for the officials down on the field because it's the guys upstairs that are making the call, and I don't think we need to know how upset he was because we obviously saw the footage after the call was made.
And the run is by Minor, released to the 25. I think that would indicate that the officials on the field feel like perhaps in this case the replay judgment was incorrect.
Yeah, and I think it is once you go back and look at it, because even when that play happened, Sean, we're sitting there saying, why are they even reviewing this play?
Yep. That is almost a lateral, an incomplete pass from Artavius Odoms.
And I know they review every play, but why are they stopping the game to look at it? Nevertheless, it's 14-14, new ball game, line up and play.
Yep. Third down and 4. 3 throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Odoms, and Ross Weaver broke it up. And that's one of a few times today, Chris, it seemed like if Threed had just a little more zip on the ball, it's the difference between a completion and an incompletion.
Well, the problem is, yeah, you're right, Sean. Michigan is getting pretty good pressure. Ross Weaver does a good job of timing up. But also, you want to start working manageable downs. You don't need to run a 17-yard route on a zone blitz when the corner's off. You run a 6-yard route, get the first down, live to fight another down. They're just running 2 deeper routes on 4th and 5 with the corner off.
And those are looping throws more than their line drive throws. A little more zip on it might have helped. Keyshawn Martin brought it back to the 28. A 52-yard punt again by Mesko. Mark Mundros made the tackle after a 7-yard return. We look at the Pacific Life game summary. Brandon Minor scored 2 touchdowns in the half. The Spartans think he really only scored 1. And Javon Ringer bottled up for most of that half, but broke away late for 64 yards. And it turned out to be a 109-yard half on 17 carries. An immediate hit by Morgan Trent on Keyshawn Martin.
Yeah, that's on Mark Dell right there. Mark Dell's got a block. I think Mark Dell's expecting the football. Once Dell's outside, here's the quick hitter, and Morgan Trent runs free and on touch for the kill shot. And Mark Dell gave it one of these with his hands up. Uh-oh, I was supposed to get him.
He told the story about Keyshawn Martin, his high school athletic director and junior varsity basketball coach, making the tape to help him get recruited. He was flying under the radar. The first member of his family to go to college. Javon Ringer bottled up. And that's huge, Chris, because without the help, he might not have gotten a scholarship. He wasn't going to go to college. Keyshawn Martin's mother, Tracy, diagnosed with tumors in her abdomen back in 1998. She's been unable to work ever since. His dad is a baggage handler at the Detroit Metro Airport. They had to sell the family car. So Keyshawn Martin's very grateful to the help he got from the folks at his high school to get on this stage.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that get scholarships like that, Sean, and players are everywhere. You just got to go find them.
5 wide receivers, 3 bunch to the left of Hoyer. Crowd really into it. Hoyer sacked. Brandon Graham, who guaranteed victory over Michigan State, with another sack, the 3rd of the day for the Wolverines.
Well, here, Sean, big Jesse Miller's having a hard time getting out of his stance. We saw Brandon Marshall right here chase down. Brandon Graham chased down Javon Ringer right here. He just beats him with speed. When you have that kind of speed off the corner, that puts a lot of pressure on that offensive tackle. Starting to walk the walk after talk the talk.
Aaron Bates, the punt. Odoms, a fair catch. At the 35-yard line, 47-yard punt. The battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. They're tied at 14. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Best Buy from Michigan Stadium. Undergoing about $200 million worth of renovations and improvements. Will be finished in time for the 2010 season. A lot of it will be Brand new sweeps. Minor had to reverse his field and did well to get just barely back across the line of scrimmage. On 1st and 10 for Michigan, 3 minutes into the third quarter. It certainly has changed the look of this place from the street, hasn't it, Chris? You used to be able to drive by here and not even know the biggest stadium in the country was here, because when you walk in, you're basically in the last row of the stadium. Now with this structure being built, you notice the stadium.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're doing it. It's something that they needed to do, and they're keeping the integrity of the big house intact.
A lot of that is going to be brick, and it'll look like the old stadium that it is. Here's a look from the street. We mentioned that that structure rises up. You saw the last row of the existing stadium, not very high off street level. What a great venue this is. But Rich Rodriguez said, you know, it's really just a big house with a lot of seats. Now it's going to have a lot more character too.
It's the second time they got him. And now Michigan State's pointing to the Michigan guys.
Illegal contact prior to snap. Defense number 97. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Nice job of changing up the cadence, getting a cheap one again. That's number 2 on the day, of getting them to jump on a hard cadence by Stephen Threet.
82nd season of action at Michigan. Recent years virtually unbeatable, but the last 2 seasons only a game over 500. Here at the big house. Odoms out to the 49-yard line. Chopped down by the converted wide receiver Ryan Allison.
Here's what I got to do. I think if I'm Michigan, I'm hitting a lot of these little swing routes, swing routes, swing routes. Well, when he was at West Virginia, they would swing route, then they go deep. So they have a deep pass off of those little swing routes that I think they have to take before this game is over to take your shot, because those safeties are coming up fast on support, Sean.
Rich Rodriguez calls the plays in collaboration with Calvin McGee. There's the deep ball, and it is caught by Tony Clements.
Sometimes I mean, I wish I could be a coordinator. I mean, you feel these things, and you know your guys. Yeah. And here's the tempo now. They get them going. Now you don't want to slow down. They're getting a slow time in their stance.
And then they come right back to the line of scrimmage. Here's Minor. Another first down inside the 5. They follow up a 29-yard pass on a run by Minor.
Again, off the big play. Loosen them up. They're worried about the pass. And Brandon Minor showing the new Brandon Minor. He was the guy coming out of spring. He had some problems, but the past 2 weeks, he's running with purpose and intent.
20-yard gain. Now a chance for the lead for Michigan. 3. Lunges, trying to finish the run in the end zone, and he did. Touchdown.
Sean, I want you to watch me. Watch this replay. This is exciting. But I want you to see Brandon Minor KO somebody. Being a team player. Watch number 4 coming here. Lead blocker. Down goes Frazier. Woo! And Trevor Anderson, you see Threet fighting and clawing, getting the extra. I'm getting excited about that block.
Well, they're going to review this one as well. You know, it was amazing as that play unfolded live, Chris. Threet is in the middle of the run heading toward the end zone. That block's delivered. Everybody in the stadium went, ooh, even though the runner is still at about the 3-yard line. That block got everybody's attention.
Man, that's a football play right there. It's a good job of Stephen. A little hesitation, driving his legs, and that's a touchdown. From that angle, it looked to me like the ball did extend, but he had possession of the football because he was on the ground.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. There's a touchdown.
Well, the difference between the pass plays, you know, he had already established himself in bounds the whole way. He was running in bounds and breaks the plane of the end zone. It's clearly a touchdown.
That's going to go in the film room. Everybody say, good run, Stephen. They're going to stand up and high-five that block by Brandon Minor when you take a DN down like that.
Lopata adds the extra point. 6 plays, 66 yards, only 2:24 to do it, and Michigan leads 21-14. The Wasn't that pretty on the corner of Hill and Washtenaw here in Ann Arbor? The rocket gets painted often, as you can tell, for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes around this time of the year, Michigan State fans try to sneak over to paint it. There were folks out protecting the rock last night as well. Michigan leads for the first time today. Brandon Miner's block leading the way for Stephen Threet. And a squib kick by Jason Gingell. Fielded again by Andrew Hawken. An excellent field position with which to begin for the Spartans near the 40. Here's Matt Weiner.
Thank you, Sean. And here's a Verizon Wireless update on what's happening in Austin. A Colt McCoy interception was negated by an Oklahoma State personal foul on McCoy. He gets his revenge here with a 3-yard touchdown on 28-14, but Oklahoma State is knocking. Georgia just got a touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford to A.J. Green. It's a 14-point Bulldog lead in Baton Rouge.
Here it's a 7-point lead for Michigan. Trying to beat their in-state rival for the 7th year in a row. Javon Ringer, the ball carrier for 3. Jonas Mouton took him down. Rich Rodriguez talking yesterday about this rivalry. He said, when I took the job, I realized we have 3 rivalries. Everybody knows about Ohio State. Most Michigan people consider that the big one, but they also have Notre Dame and Michigan State. Well, clearly for Michigan State, this is the rivalry game.
Oh, absolutely. And I think for the whole state of Michigan, this is the rivalry game, because the Ohio State game is all about Michigan. This brings everybody in play in the whole state.
Pass incomplete. Too high for Javon Ringer. It'll be 3rd and 6. Otis Wiley, outstanding Michigan State safety, talking about this game, said it means more than a championship. We've been losing to them for a while. And definitely like a win. Set the tone for our program and our season.
And that's what Michigan State has to battle. I mean, they have the MO of going in the tank after strong starts. We'll see how they respond when they're down on the road.
Hoyer throws, man open, caught. Blair White again with 1 long touchdown today. A big gainer inside the 10. They'll mark him out at the 7. Well, they haven't had much sustained offense at all today, but both touchdowns for Michigan State were on plays of over 60 yards, and now they're in position again after a 50-yard completion.
There's a stacked formation, and you see Bubakar Sissoko gets nosy and peeks inside, and there's no threat to him in the flat, so in his coverage, he's got to get depth. Keep getting depth. If there's no threat, just get back and run with the wide receiver. And a good read by Brian Hoyer. They set it up nice with a read route between the 2 wide receivers playing off of each other.
1st and goal. Ringer. Perhaps a yard, and that's all. 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Obieze and the Michigan Wolverines leading by a touchdown.
I tell you, Michigan has done a good job. Scott Schaefer told us they are not going to run up the middle. Now, they've had success bouncing that ball outside. I'd give it to Ringer. Show like you're going in the middle. Use your 4-3 speed and get the corner.
Hoyer throws back in the end zone. No chance. Charlie Gant was well covered by Brandon Harrison. And it'll be 3rd down and goal.
I usually like to play action on 1st down. Now, 2nd down's not bad, but 1st down's pretty good. But if you're not having success running up the middle, they're not going to honor it, especially the safeties, which Brandon Harrison did a good job of staying in his coverage on Gant.
Big play here. Wolverine fans hoping for a stop and a field goal try. The Spartans hoping for the tying touchdown. Quick throw, contact, but no flag. Mark Dell, the intended receiver, hand fighting with Donovan Warren. It'll be 4th and goal, and the field goal unit will come out for the Spartans.
Sean, they have a play right here. All the ball has to be delivered outside shoulder. See that ball's thrown inside. If you throw that ball to the outside shoulder, you're in for 6 points away from the defender. That's a poor read by Brian Hoyer, in my opinion. The hand fighting, that's part of it. Both of them had hands on each other. They're going at it.
Here's Brett Swenson, who had made 15 in a row. Then he missed short from 50 and had another one blocked. Just a 24-yard try, a little more than an extra point. He hooked it. Looked like there was difficulty with the hold. Aaron Bates is the punter, is the holder as well. But here's a young man who had made 15 in a row coming in, the school record. He's 0 for 3. One short, one blocked, and one snap hook.
Well, it starts with a snap. This is on Shackleton, the center. See, he throws that ball low and inside on the knee, which allows Bates to be a little bit late, screwing up the timing, forcing him to hook it because he's waiting on the ball. His steps are messed up. It all starts with the snap. When you don't have the snap, poor execution.
Some words on the sideline. I don't think Swenson needed a gesture at the holder like that either after he hooked it. I mean, there was a problem with the snap and the hold, but it looked like it was down on the ground before he got his foot to it. Brandon Miner, the ball carrier. He ran for a yard. Ryan Allison tackled him.
I was just going to say, and you're right, Shia. Bates did a great job of fielding the low hopper, the hot hopper
down
inside.
On the ground. Freak's pass incomplete over the head of Martavius Odoms. Here's Aaron.
Sean, the Michigan State offense came off the field just barking at the officials. Obviously, they felt like there should have been some interference there, and a lot of the coaches were screaming as well. Mark D'Antonio walked over to his players and coaching staff and said, stop it, get over it. You have to continue to play. So these tempers are flaring over here, guys.
A big part of a rivalry game is maintaining your poise with so much emotion. Threed is sacked by Trevor Anderson, the defender who got leveled on that block by Miner to pave the way for Threek's touchdown a moment ago. He comes back and makes a big play.
The redemption is sweet because you know who tried to block him? Watch Brandon Miner here. This is good stuff, guys. This is good stuff. Brandon Miner's going to come up. Trevor Anderson takes one of the chops, but this time he doesn't quit, and you could tell that he was excited about that because he could say, yes, he got me earlier, but I got him back. Oh, love it, man. Go.
They have Brandon Miner out of position. He needs to be a lineman, doesn't he? Ooh, came after Zoltan Mesko. He still managed to beam one way up in the air. Keyshawn Martin, nowhere to run. Well covered by Zach Johnson, a special teams dynamo for Michigan. 48-yard punt by Mesko with a return of -4. Here in Ann Arbor, the battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, Michigan and Michigan State. The Wolverines, an underdog on their home field against the Spartans for the first time since 1968, lead by a touchdown. Hoyer, play-action pass, looking for Dell. He was double covered by Donovan Warren and Morgan Trent.
You got to go with a screen. You have to get Javon Ringer in space. It's not working up the middle. Either get the ball to him outside, which they try to do, or run a screen pass to him, but he's got to become part of your offense again, because Michigan is doing an excellent job of clogging the middle. That was their goal, and so far they've accomplished that goal, besides the big run that Ringer broke in the first half.
He was averaging under 3 yards per rush before the 64-yard touchdown run. Ringer the lone back. And they try him in the middle. And Michigan, that was really job one that they were getting ready for in preparation. Here's Matt Weiner.
All right, John, Florida beat Kentucky for the 22nd straight time. And their special teams are our nominee for the Pontiac game-changing performance. Gators blocked 2 Kentucky punts and a field goal attempt. All 3 blocks led to Gator scores in a 63-5 win. You can vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance starting tomorrow morning at 9 on ESPN.com.
Matt, thank you. 3rd down and 6. Hoyer over the middle, first down and more to B.J. Cunningham, the redshirt freshman. 12-yard gain.
Good job again. Javon Ringer helped. He's not going to run the football with the screen. If he's getting clogged up inside, he can still be a factor. Did a good job of picking up and helping on the pass rush of the Michigan Wolverines with a nice chip block.
High formation now with Cunningham in motion. in trouble and sacked back at his own 47. Mike Martin, true freshman, just turned 18 years old back in September out of Redford, Michigan.
Watch, Mike. This is caused because look at the ends coming with great pressure. Jamison coming in, forcing Hoyer to step up. Mike Martin, the state champion wrestler, coming in and finishing the play. He just went out and tackled him when he
That's
wrestled.
what Scott Schaefer said. He had a highlight video of his wrestling. He really didn't have much technique because he didn't start till the junior high school. He just tackled the other guy. Experience that serves him well in his role as a defensive lineman. Will Johnson tackled Ringer after a 4-yard gain. Scott Schaefer said the other funny thing about the wrestling highlight tape was in the background you could hear Martin's mother.
Well, that's what moms do.
Very excited about her son's successes on the mat.
He's a tough kid. Another one of the. I mean, this is. If you're a Michigan fan, I know things aren't going your way. Just stay patient because Rich Rodriguez, will build this team. You just got to be patient with him. And they're playing hard today. So is Michigan State. What a great game.
5 wide receivers. Hoyer stepped up away from the rush. One-on-one coverage for Dell. He has it. Can he stay on his feet? No. But he has a first down at the 5-yard line with Stevie Brown in coverage. Another big play for the Spartans of 44 yards.
What a gutsy call in the play by Brian Hoyer. I'm going to tell you why, because he probably could tuck this and run and get the first down. But look at his eyes stay down the field, understanding where he's on the field awareness, throws the ball up, and a nice job of Dell adjusting on the football. Stevie Brown did not adjust with Dell. Now, if Dell could finish the play, because Michigan State has had a hard time pounding it once they get down in here and close.
First and goal. They were down here a moment ago and came away empty on a missed field goal. Ringer trying to turn the corner. Cannot. Stevie Brown up from his safety spot to make the play on Ringer.
Good job with Thompson, also the linebacker running to stretch that out. I thought Javon maybe should have poked it up inside. He had to angle, put your head down and go get it as opposed to get in the corner. Stevie Brown being blocked, fought it off. But that's where they're going to go try to go outside now, because where the success hasn't been is inside. But when you get pursuit like that, you're playing good team defense.
Second and goal from just inside the 5. Hoyer had to get rid of it. Touchdown! Charlie Gant, the tight end.
Coming from the backside. Here's time to play action on second down works. Coming from the backside off the bootleg. Tries to kind of hides right here. See, he gets real low. He's going to sneak across the field. And Hoyer just has to buy time by getting depth. Look at Gant. Just work to the open area, get some depth, throw off the back foot, fade away, high and away, so your guy can be the only one that gets it, and he gets it.
And now Swenson, who's had an uncharacteristically tough day, taking a very important extra point. No problem with that. Brian Hoyer, the touchdown pass. 4 yards to Charlie Gant, the sophomore from Farmington Hills, Michigan, with his 4th touchdown of the year, and we're tied at 21. A lot of the day they've been stagnant. 4 plays accounting for 219 yards of offense.
And the other thing is they've left 6 points on the field. Now the 50-yard field goal, that's understandable if you miss that one, but one blocked. That's a mistake, and a bad snap. Poor execution on 2 field goal attempts that cost them the opportunity to get 6 points.
So can Stephen Threet drive the Wolverines down the field. Back in a tie game. Quick one for Minor. The Spartans were ready for that. There's a flag down. Brandon Long, the stop. But a flag thrown very near where Minor was stopped.
One way to stop the screen is defensive lineman hustling by recognition of the screen and getting down the line of scrimmage. Brandon did a good job of running, man. He was hauling.
During the play, illegal block in the back, number 9 on offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat the down.
Martavius Odoms, the wide receiver. trying to help and did not in this case.
I'm going to tell you how you can help if you don't put your hands on him. Watch this. He'll get him. Now just body bump him. See, he gave him that little push. All you got to do is kind of body bump him and kind of lean into him. Sometimes you get away with it. Don't say anything.
First and 20 back at the 9. Darrell Stoneham the catch, and the quick response by Jeremy Ware at the conclusion of today's game. We will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Bad time for a quarterback draw here to get yourself in a manageable 3rd down.
They want to be careful here, and there's a tie game in the second half last week at Penn State when they took a safety. Part of Penn State outscoring Michigan 32-0 in the second half after the Wolverines led by 3 at the break. Officials will sort out the movement along the line.
Sean, I mean, that'll drive him crazy. Mark is a great football coach.
Prior to the snap,
defensive coach.
86 on the end of the line, moving 5 yards. Down to make a second.
So Mark was disappointed because he didn't see it, but there's a true freshman, Koger, that got a little anxious. You got to tell Trevor Anderson to see the ball. Don't go on sound. See the ball.
The whistle went against Kevin Koger of Michigan. They're back at the 9-yard line again. 3. Ran into the umpire. Bounces off some defenders. To give 3 credit, they want him to finish the runs. He got everything he could out of that. About 8 yards before Greg Jones got him down.
Now, this is why I called for the quarterback draws, because you want to give yourself a manageable 3rd down. You don't trust him throwing that ball in the end zone. And he's knocking the umpire with a stiff arm. He Heisman the umpire to get the extra yards.
I thought you might criticize the umpire's tackling technique there. Jeff Carr certainly did not see what he hit what he see, bring his feet, all the things that you preach.
I'll just go with that umpire in the SEC who knocks fools out that run in his way. LSU South Carolina last week.
3rd down and 11, and Anderson again across the line of scrimmage. This time it is going to go against Michigan State.
Prior to the snap, defense offside, 5 yards. The down remains 3rd.
Again, I mean, those are mental errors, and it drives him crazy because he's a defensive coach. All game, Trevor's gotten off the ball pretty well. But now you got to understand they're on to you, Trevor, so they're going to hard count you. Why? Because they've had success hard counting you. So you got to keep thinking and keep them coming. Watch the ball. Now this
Much more manageable 3rd down here.
He'll be slow off the ball right here now, Sean, because he's nervous.
And he was. He was actually turned around talking to one of his teammates. Three couldn't stay on his feet. Anderson still got in there with help from Long. 3rd sack of the day for Michigan State on what will be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Here comes Anderson again, working inside, does a good job. But Brandon Long coming from the opposite side. Didn't make the tackle with his arms, but through his body, got him down any way you can get him down.
On to the 4th quarter. Another tight one between the longtime rivals Michigan State and Michigan. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Best Buy. Heading to the 4th quarter, tied at 21. Zoltan Mesko to punt for the 7th time. The Spartans have come close to blocking a couple. They don't really go after this one, trying to set up the return, but it's booted away from Keyshawn Martin, and it tumbled out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Not good by Mesko's standards, just 34 yards. Another look at the Pacific Life game summary. Mentioned the total yards for Michigan State, including 268 passing yards. Hoyer was on the receiving end of a 24-yard play. The numbers are decent, but it's been 4 big plays. The rest of the day they have really sputtered. Ringer runs. You know, it kind of reminds me of, Chris, your old teammate Barry Sanders. You know, he'd go all day, he'd get 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards, and then all of a sudden he'd get 70 yards.
Yeah, and the thing that, like Barry, that he has is he gets stronger as the game goes on. But I'm still going to say, you got to get the ball out in space. They had that little swing pass to him. That's got to come again, or a screen pass. If they get him out in space, it gives them a chance, and they've had room to work out there. There's nothing in the middle.
Receivers to each side. Flag down, thrown where you would expect a holding call. Hoyer threw it away. Looked like Brandon Graham was taken to the ground by Jesse Miller, the right tackle.
Turn to play, holding, offense number 79, 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat the down.
Big Jesse's having all kind of problems with Brandon today, and when you get in trouble, you don't want to get your quarterback hit. You grab and hold on. Now, if that keeps happening, you might want to bring a tight end over there or bring Ringer over there to start chipping on him to give Big Jesse a little help.
Graham said we won't lose to State. He said that last Saturday, and he's done all he can do to make sure Michigan wins today. He's been terrific. A screen, and it is intercepted. No, it was Ryan Van Bergen who was there. He thought he caught it. At least he's trying to convince the officials he did. He knows he didn't, with that smile on his face. Boy, and Hoyer is prone to the occasional head-scratching mistake. I mean, where is this going?
Well, he's trying to loft it in to Ringer, but the problem is the screen should be run on first down, not second and 20, because 108,000 people know that's a screen down. And good read by Van Bergen.
Third and long. Third down and 19. Spartans from their own 39. Four-man rush, and they get there again. Brandon Graham trying to back up his words.
Johnny, if they block him, they have Blair White running down the sidelines wide open and free. Here comes Brandon Graham. Let's see. He's got him with the rip right there. It's a nice little inside spin move with the finish. He all sets that up with the speed rush, getting Jesse Miller to jump outside. You put him in the inside spin. Jesse has no chance.
Miller's a veteran and very good tackle, but right now he is having a very difficult time with Graham. Martavius Odoms bringing back the Aaron Bates punt. And he's swung down near the 27-yard line by Greg Jones, the leading tackler on the Spartans team, out there covering punts. 47-yard punt, 5-yard return. Here's John Saunders with another Vizio Sports Center right now.
All right, Sean, thanks a lot. Graham Harrell, as we told you earlier, 5 touchdown passes on the day. Texas Tech rolls over Kansas, remains unbeaten. They will face Texas next week. Tim Tebow, meanwhile, ties Emmitt Smith for career rushing touchdowns at 36 with his 5th of the year as Florida blows out Kentucky. Sean.
John, thank you. 1st and 10, Michigan. Threet starts this series with a pass and a good run after the catch by the freshman Odoms. The coaches think he's destined for stardom. He has to be a lead player this year with the departure early to the NFL of Arrington and Manningham. Kendall Davis Clark took him down.
Yeah, he gives him a little bit of explosion out on the perimeter.
Rich Rodriguez said a win over Michigan State would be huge. Michigan's lost 3 games in a row for the first time since 1979. Underdog on this field against the Spartans for the first time since '68. And really any chance of extending that longest consecutive bowl streak in the country to 34 years in a row has to include a win here today by Michigan State. They can afford, by Michigan, they can afford one more loss and that's it. And they have a very tough schedule after today. Most of it on the road.
Yeah, they need it for their confidence, Sean, too. That's what they need it more for anything else.
Trying to convert on 3rd and 1. Miner strings it out. 1st down. Fighting for that extra yard. Marcus Hyde and Brandon Long got him down. These are the streaks that are in jeopardy. The longest bowl streak in the country, 33 years in a row. And the longest consecutive non-losing season streak. They haven't had a losing season since they were 4-6 back in 1967. They had one 500 year, 6-6 in 1984. Brandon Minor carries for a yard. And we mentioned the difficult schedule that remains for Michigan. They have to at least be 6-6. They're 2-5 right now, so they have to win 4 out of the last 5, including this one. And after today, they go to Purdue, they go to Minnesota, they have Northwestern here, and at Ohio State. If you lose today, you'd have to win all of those.
Be tough duties, especially since they're all on the road. Most of them on the road.
3. To Kevin Colger to the 49-yard line. We asked Rich Rodriguez about that. Certainly no coach wants to begin his tenure losing all of those streaks. He said, you know, I can't really pay that much attention to it because they're trying as hard as they can. You know, it's not like if I keep mentioning these streaks, we're going to try any harder. Everybody's trying as hard as they can. We just have to focus on one play at a time. Ross Weaver had good coverage on Greg Matthews.
Now, and the other thing is, and Rich will do this, he's got a system. You've got to believe in the system. He's not going to change. And he understands there's going to be an adjustment period, but he's not going to change. They thought it was an offsides call right there, but it looks like they got back.
And Rich upset again with Stephen Threet. But I think Threet thought it was a free play.
Threet has thick skin. I know that.
So Mesko punts for the 8th time. High nose-up spiral and a fair catch made by Keyshawn Martin. Let's go back and look at the previous play and try to determine if Threet had a beef. There was movement. Those offensive linemen never moved. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Aaron Andrews. Michigan Stadium, Ann Arbor, Michigan. 101st meeting all time between the Spartans and the Wolverines. Tied at 21, just under 11 minutes to go. On first down, here goes Ringer. Out to the 30 for a gain of 12. Here's Aaron.
And Sean, you can just get a sense as I've been around this offense when they were over on the sidelines, things are starting to get tense. It's a little pressure over here. Mark D'Antonio, before they headed out onto the field, grabbed his offensive line and said, I need you to dig deep. Please dig deep for me. And before the offense went out on the field, he got in the middle of his entire team and just started screaming at him. You can just tell by everybody's faces, this is pressure time.
Well, it's huge for the Spartans. They feel like they haven't had much respect from Michigan. Brian Hoyer dumps it off, fumble, but it goes out of bounds. Jeff McPherson rattled by Ringer's old high school teammate Brandon Harrison. Fortunately for the Spartans, it crossed the boundary.
It's a good job of Brandon Harrison coming across with his head across the bow, closing the gate in front of the ball. Just wrap him up and keep your head up, young man. That's a good hit. Keep your head up.
Harrison and Ringer were teammates in high school in Dayton at Chaminade Julian High School. They played together from the 7th grade on. Their 7th grade coach was Brandon Harrison's dad, Eric. Ringer and Harrison were the best of friends throughout their high school days. Here's Ringer trying to run straight ahead. Every yard is difficult. And he made it to the 35 for a pickup of 5. Tackled again by Brandon Graham. And we talk about the lack of respect from Michigan toward Michigan State if it exists. I thought Brian Hoyer had the right quote. He said, we haven't really done anything to make them respect us. We've lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, and he's right. And I think that's true. And Mark D'Antonio preaches that message too, but he also embraces this rivalry. And you guys want respect, and get your rear ends out on the field and go earn it. And that's what they have the opportunity to do here in the 4th quarter on the road in the Big House.
Hoyer right on target, first down. What a game for Blair White. The ball's out, but he's ruled down at the Michigan 48. 17 yards for White, who started the day with no career touchdowns, the junior from Saginaw, Michigan, and only 19 catches this year.
Well, a nice little move, and that's what they scored their first touchdown on, Sean, that quick little slant. Brandon White gave a little head fake outside where Stewart jumped outside with him, just enough for Brian Hoyer to thread the needle inside. The difference is Stewart made the tackle where Stevie Brown missed the tackle in the first half.
3 catches, 128 yards for White. He had a career high 6 catches last week in the loss to Ohio State. Play action going deep again for White. Bumping and a flag thrown. Brandon Harrison was running stride for stride, but there were several instances along the way where they made contact with each other.
And I'll tell you why they're taking so many shots down the field, because the safeties are playing so close to the line of scrimmage.
Defense number 27.
This ball is going the other way.
Yeah, you can see, and the contact's there, but both guys were having contact, and
yeah, White kind of stumbled into him, then he gave him a headshot right off the back of the helmet.
I thought Brandon did a good job of turning with the wide receiver turning. A close call.
Of course, that's not reviewable. Michigan State probably feels it's due a break today. They just got one, it appeared. From the 33 now. They're going into the wind, so probably not in field goal range for Swenson. Ringer gets them 10 closer and more. Out of bounds at the 19-yard line. A 14-yard run for the senior from Dayton.
You know, the last 2 running plays, we had the toss earlier in the drive outside. What did we talk about? If he wants to run the ball, hit it up inside, then run outside and run the hump and get the short corner. They're committing. Everybody's committed on the Michigan Wolverine defense to stop up the middle runs. That's their game plan. That time Ringer recognized, used his great speed, and got the short corner.
157 yards rushing for Ringer. Michigan State trying to reclaim the lead as we approach 8 minutes left. Ringer goes down. Well, he says he gets stronger as the game goes along, and the stats would prove it, but he looks a little fatigued right now. They've tried him consistently up the middle all day.
You see that 20 carries for 114 up the middle, but don't forget, the one that was counted as up the middle was actually where he bounced the ball outside and went the distance. So really, that's deceiving a little bit on the 114 up the middle. For 64.
Yep. Midway through the 4th quarter. For the last 5 games in this rivalry, decided by 8 points or less. 2 of them in overtime. Hoyer in the flat, caught again by Blair White. Down near the 5. They'll mark it inside the 4-yard line. What a game for the former walk-on White.
It's a good counter by Don Treadwell. Michigan is committing to the run and blitzing on 1st down. So what do? Go to the quick 3-step game right here, and Brian Hoyer going to his favorite target today, and Blair White. It's a nice little matchup on Charles Stewart. I think they like that matchup.
15 yards. 143 yards receiving for White on just 4 catches. Now 3 backs in the eye behind the quarterback, and Ringer will waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan State.
How about Aaron Andrews reporting on Mark D'Antonio? Guys, dig deep. I need you. I need you bad. Get the team around screaming. And what do? They respond to Mark D'Antonio's challenge by taking it down and getting 6 and taking the lead.
16th touchdown, as you saw, rushing to lead the nation. Last year, Ringer had only 6, but of course they had Jehu Kulkrick, who was a short yardage specialist and a bruiser down by the goal line, so he got most of the short yardage and goal line carries. Ringer has shown he has plenty of power inside that 5'9" and change 204-pound frame. He gets stronger as the game goes along, but he is clearly a little winded right now, and understandably so.
Yeah, right here. And he's given everything he has. He knows this is his last shot at beating the Wolverines. And a good job of blocking. You see Gant gets the back of his leg by his own teammate. Josh Rouse falls on the back of Gant's leg, and hopefully he'll be all right. He's played a nice game.
Now another very important extra point to give him a 7-point lead with 7 minutes to go. Brett Swenson kicks it through. Back and forth they go as the Spartans by 7 in the fourth quarter.
ESPN College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Best Buy. You happier. Allstate, proud sponsors of college football. Are you in good hands? And Olive Garden. When you're here, your family.
Well, some things require an explanation. Certainly that video does. Every Friday and before the game on Saturdays, Michigan's senior Brett Wetjenski and sophomore Ben Wilson run around the diag in costume. This week it was a gorilla chasing a banana. Todd Bolesky kicks off. Boubacar Sissoko brings it back to the 30.
They need to get in shape, those two students. They need to get on a Stairmaster.
24-yard return by Sissoko. And now a look at our Best Buy playbook.
Well, this is, if you're a Michigan fan, what you have to look forward. This offense right here can work when you have a blocker and a quarterback that can run. That's the staple of Rich Rodriguez's spread offense. You're going to see right here Brandon Meyer deliver the blow, giving one up for his teammates. That's 210 pounds, taking down a defensive end. Stephen Threet patient and excelling, finishing the run. That's something to look forward to, that type of play in the future for Rich Rodriguez and his offense.
Been a Michigan team that struggled to sustain offense all year. Can they drive it again? Not this time. It is intercepted by Chris L. Rucker. Playing with his elbow in a brace because of a dislocation. Had no problem catching it. His second interception of the season and a huge one.
Well, this is his job of Rucker coming off coverage, getting depth with Tony Clemens. And the problem that Stephen has a little bit is he stares down his receivers. That time he looked the whole way. You saw Chris L. Rucker's eyes just look in the backfield, feeling where Tony Clemens was and just reading the quarterback and coming back better than receiver to make the catch and the interception.
The ball in a one-touchdown lead for Michigan State. Ringer burst through a hole. And is stopped very near another first down at the 30 by Stevie Brown. Here's Aaron.
Well, Sean, not that you can tell from the way Javon Ringer is running, but during that last drive when he scored the touchdown, he was favoring the right side of his body. He came over to the sideline, sat on the bench, seemed like he was a little overcome with emotion, but then the training staff started looking at that right shoulder. You see him grabbing that arm, moving it around a bit, something to keep an eye on.
He had shoulder surgery in the offseason. Hasn't bothered him this year. Runs a 4.3 40, benches 400 pounds, squat 620. His family's here. Interesting family. His dad is a pastor. Javon himself, a very religious young man, and his mom is a black belt in karate.
I guess you better show up at their church or you're going to have to see mom.
Mom's going to kick you in the mouth.
Yes, yeah. Or you better throw that when that plate's passed around. You better put some cash in that.
He's up to 173 yards rushing. 18th career 100-yard rushing game for Ringer. Second all-time in Michigan State. Lorenzo White at 23. 5:40 to go. They'd love to score and run some clock at the same time. That's about 9 more. He says, I'm at my best in the fourth quarter. I get stronger as the game goes along. And he is demonstrating that again today.
In the offensive line is starting to wear down that front of Michigan, who did such a good job for most of the game, stopping the runs up the middle. I get a leader on that Michigan defense, and I say enough's enough. They got 9. Suck it up right here. It's 3rd and 1. They're coming right at us. Who's going to win the battle? Who's going to win the surge up front?
Big third down here. Michigan wants to force a field goal try, and I think they did. Ringer did not get to the 20-yard line. Mark D'Antoni will have a decision to make. A field goal makes it a 2-score game. And he has Swenson, who's ordinarily a terrific field goal kicker. He's had an awful day today. They're going to go for it.
Because automatically you alert the hard count up front. You go inside, it'd be a nice little time for a quick little outside play to Javon Ringer. Mark's going to call timeout.
Yeah, they're going to let it run down. I don't know why they didn't run it down more. They still had 6 seconds on the clock when they called the timeout. I think Mark D'Antonio wants a little more time to think about this decision. The game clock is still running. Obviously, they'll have to fix that. We'll see what happens. Will they kick or go for it when we come back?
You're watching ESPN.
One of the most important decisions of Mark D'Antonio's brief tenure as Michigan State coach, and he has left the offense on the field to go for it on 4th down and less than a yard, leading by 7 with 4:21 to go. Ringer. Did he get there? Needed to reach the 20. Looks like they're going to give him the 20. Michigan's opponents have not converted on 4th down this year. The opposing offense is against this Michigan defense 0 for 7 on 4th down this year. And they got it. The officials are moving the chains. It worked out, Chris, but I think it was the wrong decision. If you go ahead by 2 scores against this bad Michigan offensive team with 4 minutes to go, it's just about game over.
And I think sometimes normally Mark D'Antonio would do that, but I think he called his whole team around him. I'm making a decision. I'm trusting you guys to drive the stake. We're going to take it, and it paid off. Sometimes you go on guts. He went on gut feeling right there.
Rivalry game. Wanting to make a statement. Ringer with a big hole and another 1st down. And that's probably another part of it, the way Ringer has run in that offensive line, answering the call from the coach to dig deep and summon it up. They have started to do it. And really, they've just started pounding the run after they had trouble pass blocking. Michigan's at 5 sacks.
Well, this is a good job with the fake swing pass, and they have the quick pitch to the outside with Javon Ringer. It freezes and hesitates the defense, and it also slows down the backside pursuit because they're held by the ball fake of Brian Hoyer. By the way, he's doing a great job of pump faking, holding that defense, selling it.
The benefit of going for it is now the clock continues to run. Ringer slithers through the hole. If you're Michigan, you start to use your timeouts.
Yeah, I think you have to.
And they have. Officials indicating that Michigan State called timeout. I think they pointed the wrong way. There's no reason why the Spartans would have called timeout.
They corrected it as a Michigan timeout.
Ringer has carried 7 times on this drive. I mentioned he averages just about 33 carries per game, so the 36 is just slightly over the average. He has the 3 highest single game carry totals in the country this year. 44 against Indiana, 43 against Florida Atlantic in the rain, and 39 against Notre Dame. So he's just getting warmed up. Yeah. Over 200 yards rushing in both of those games, Florida Atlantic and Notre Dame, the first Michigan State back ever to have 200 yards in back-to-back games, and he's got enough energy to dance.
Yeah, I was noticing that, and Charlie Weiss paid him a great compliment after the Notre Dame game. He says he has something that's rare, great stamina. I mean, people have stamina, but he has great stamina to carry the rock 36 times.
2nd and goal. Ringer again. Wrestled down, perhaps even shy of the line of scrimmage by Tim Jamison.
Timeout, Michigan. They're 2nd.
Michigan's called another timeout. ABC Tuesday at 10/9 Central. It's an all-new Eli Stone. The one lawyer worth believing as a choice. Follow his visions to a history-making case, or save the one person who trusts him most. Johnny Lee Miller is ABC's Eli Stone. All new Tuesday, 10/9 Central on ABC. It's a good-looking show.
See down there Rich Rodriguez and sending a message to his guys. And I think if you're Michigan, you got to be proud. And not satisfied, obviously disappointed. But I think, Rich, when you're 2-6 and you're new, you got to instill things and teach things. And for him down there coaching his guys and keep playing hard and finish the game. That's something that's going to have a carryover effect into next week and on into next year.
Rich Rodriguez signed his contract yesterday. He was hired as Michigan football coach 10 months ago. Took a while to get the lengthy document on paper. It has been signed by all parties. A 6-year deal, reported $2.5 million a year. Play action pass and a touchdown. They had two fullbacks in the game, and Josh Rouse was wide open running to the left.
It's a great call by Don Treadwell, the offensive coordinator. Rouse is right here, just going to sneak out into the flat. Everybody, of course, is thinking ringer, ringer, ringer. Plus, you're thinking you're going to run the clock down. And here's a way to seal the victory. You set them up for the play action. You know it's there. It's just a matter of when you call it. You call it, you execute it. Both things were done. Touchdown. Up 13. Extra point pending.
And as we said, going for the 4th down was clearly the right thing to do. That's the extra point.
Gut feeling. He had a gut.
Josh Rouse, the touchdown. Junior from Newtown, Connecticut. And Mark D'Antonio and the Spartans are starting to taste it on the sideline, leading by 14 with 3:06 to go, and only one timeout left for the offensively challenged Michigan Wolverines. Last win in this stadium was 1990 for the Spartans. Their last win in the rivalry was 2001 in East Lansing. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Aaron Andrews. Happy to have you with us. Michigan State 6-2 overall. Got hammered in a much anticipated game at home last week by Ohio State. For many years, the mantra around the football program has been same old Spartans. Every time it looks like they're about to head significantly in a positive direction, there's a reverse. And Mark D'Antonio said that's why today's game is so important and such a great opportunity. We want to get rid of those doubters. This is a new day for Michigan State football. They're 3 minutes away from a huge win. Todd Bolesky's kickoff. Returned by Sissoko, and he was just barely chopped down by the kicker Bolesky at the 42-yard line.
So I was just getting ready to say there's still time, and they're celebrating over there. But if he would have popped that one through,
yep,
there's a lot of game left.
And then the demons of years gone by start to reemerge.
There's a young, true freshman, exciting, explosive cornerback, doubling as a kick returner. Almost popped it through there.
Of course, they don't have to go back long to think about Michigan State squandering a lead in the 4th quarter against the Wolverines. Brandon Long with the 4th sack of Stephen Threet. Last year, Sparty led by 10 in the 4th quarter. Only to watch Chad Henne rally the Wolverines back to win 28-24.
That's tough duty right there. If they're just rushing 3 and you're giving up a sack. Brandon Long trying to finish.
Threet steps up and throws, intercepted again. 3rd of the day for the Spartans. Jeremy Ware lost the football. And it looks like Michigan has recovered. Martavius Odoms has it at the 32. All Ware really had to do was go down. But he ran into some traffic. The ball popped out, and the Spartans will stay on the field defensively.
Well, again, watch Stephen Threet's eyes. He's looking where he's going. His eyes never waver. And Ware just plays his eyes. Put the ball away. Put the ball away. And it looked like his own guy, number 96, Kevin Pickleman, knocked it out with a good hit. Get out of the way of your receiver, man. Don't run in his path.
Don't want to run into the Pickleman when you're running the interception back. So another chance for Threet. They are running out of time, and it is caught by Martavius Odoms at midfield. Good catch with Ross Weaver in tight coverage. 18-yard completion to the freshman.
And everybody was waiting on the ball. I don't know what Ross Weaver was doing. He was waiting on the ball because he was on top of Martavius, but a good throw by Threet. You want to see him finish strong. A good throw to Martavius.
And his ball has just lacked a little velocity today. You have to think that elbow is still affecting his throwing. James Rogers the catch down to the 31. Under 2 minutes to go. 19-yard completion. Rogers is a sophomore for Madison Heights, Michigan. 1 timeout left for the Wolverines. They're down by 2 touchdowns. Tried to sneak in the run, and that one hurts. Didn't get much, and it's going to kill a lot of time. Brandon Long, the tackler. The one constant throughout the years in this rivalry has been that the team that wins on the ground wins the game. 3 hit as he throws, going deep, too deep for Rogers. Matter of fact, the team that has rushed for the most yards has won the game in this rivalry 35 of the last 38 games. And Michigan State has the big edge on the ground today. 173. Ringers rushed for 194. The sack yardage comes off the team rushing total.
Makes you think, Sean, the old cliche, but it's true. We got to run the football, and we got to stop the run. And that's the case right here. It's proven in this rivalry.
Spartans only rushed 3. 3 has time, and it's incomplete. Off the hands of the true freshman, Daryl Stoneham. Boy, they needed that, and they didn't get it. Threet shaking his head.
Looked like Kendall Davis Clark cut right in front of Stoneham and hampered his vision a little bit, but still.
They catch the ball.
Yeah, the ball. You're a FBS receiver. That ball touches a fingernail. Your job is to catch it. He'll get it as he grows and matures. True freshman playing. He'll make that catch next time. You got to make it now.
Yeah, absolutely must convert.
Michigan State.
The Michigan State's going to use a timeout.
Their second.
Make sure they're lined up properly for this 4th and 6. 1 timeout left for each team with 1:14 to go in Ann Arbor.
We only got 1 room left, but I doubt you'll want it.
Why not?
It's a dead zone. Can't get your calls, your precious emails. It's like you don't even exist.
I've got the Verizon network.
You good? Oh. The towers are kind of scratchy.
We test America's largest 3G network every day. Verizon Wireless. Get the exclusive LG Dare. Full touchscreen, 3G speed, loaded with features.
I love steak mix.
Enjoy your steaks, gentlemen.
Is this it?
You didn't order?
Valet's getting mine. I'm not a steak guy anymore, you know? There it is. Triple steak burrito. See, I'm more of a triple steak kind of guy.
Oh.
Taco Bell's new triple steak burrito. Steak, steak, and more grilled marinated steak. There's steak night, then there's triple steak night.
Triple steak guys, that's what we are. In here.
It's time someone gave homeowners the tools to do more with less. It's time guaranteed low prices got even lower. At the Home Depot, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items throughout the store. From tools to ceiling fans, light bulbs to Behr and Glidden paint, everyday items to special projects and more. Some of our biggest reductions ever to help protect your biggest investment. At the Home Depot, you can do it, we can help.
I'm Matt Weiner in New York with this nominee for the AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week. Texas Tech quarterback Graham Harrell threw for 386 yards, tossed 5 touchdown passes, ran for another in a rout over Kansas. You can cast your vote by texting the word vote to 51234 on your AT&T wireless phone.
Well, if there are any doubts about Texas Tech, they might have been erased today. It's a good Kansas team playing at home. Last chance for Michigan. 4th down, must convert. 1 timeout left, 1:14 remaining. 4th down and 6. They're down by 14 points. And Threet's going to throw it in the end zone. They have no chance. Greg Matthews, the intended receiver. And the party will begin in earnest in East Lansing.
Let's see if he can get Mark D'Antonio to smile. Oh, there he is. That's a shocker. He's all business. But you get the feeling that there's an anchor lifted, huh, from him?
No doubt. He's been a rival of Michigan from a couple of sides. Defensive coordinator Ohio State. Coached against Michigan under Jim Tressel. Rich Rodriguez wondering why that was the throw in double coverage. And of course, now the head coach at Michigan State in another rivalry against Michigan. And you could tell, he's not a real outspoken guy. He's not going to give you a lot of flashy quotes. But you could tell the stuff that was said last year rankled him. Some of the other stuff that's been said in between rankled him. And he told his team, take care of it on the field. And that's what they've done today.
I've known Mark for a lot of years, Sean, and he's a different, obviously, like a lot of guys, he's a different guy off the field than he is on the field. But just when we were in business, when we were having the meeting, when he's all business, you can sense a little bit of edge in his voice this week as opposed to when there's another opponent. This was Michigan. He's made the statement, in this state, you're either green or you're blue. It meant something to him, and it meant something to his guys to get this one. Now they got to build on it.
The wild fluctuations in the Michigan State program in recent years. If the team is really a reflection of the coach, they're not going to have those wild up and downs because Mark is so even-keeled himself. If the team's going to reflect their coach, they'll avoid the dramatic pitfalls that have plagued some of the other Michigan State teams over the years.
There's a Gatorade gun in there. They go. Blue Gatorade. Where's the green Gatorade?
There's the ESPNU All-State Standings Review. Texas a winner in a tight one against Oklahoma State. Alabama plays tonight in the big one in the Big Ten. Penn State and Ohio State. And this win keeps Michigan State very much right in the thick of the Big Ten title picture. They have only one conference loss. That was to Ohio State. They'd hope for a Penn State win tonight. They'll get a shot at Penn State at the end of the regular season in Happy Valley. For the first order of business, celebrate a win over Michigan. First since 2001 for the Spartans, and the first one here in Ann Arbor since 1990. The Chevrolet players of the game are Javon Ringer, 194 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns for Michigan State, and Brandon Graham, who guaranteed victory. That part of it didn't stand up, but he was outstanding, doing all he could to try to keep the Paul Bunyan Trophy. He had 3 sacks. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Here's Aaron.
Bunyan Trophy. Coaches, you're going to reach into it. How does that feel to see your players hold it up?
Feels great. Been a long time. Been a long time since I've seen that big fella.
Coach, you told us this week you wanted to see how these kids would respond after losing to Ohio State. What impressed you the most tonight?
Well, I think what we did, we made some mistakes. I know we made some mistakes and everything, but we kept playing. We played it one play at a time, and just really special football team. So, unbelievable crowd out here, great place, great environment. Michigan played a great game as well.
Players like Brian Hoyer, Javon Ringer were saying this is a statement game for us.
We stepped up. We stepped up, and there's a game every year that's going to define us. This game defined us coming off a big loss to Ohio State. Have a little bit of issues, and we came back. We got close. We came back.
And Javon, we saw you when you scored that touchdown. All right, Coach, thank you. Congratulations. We saw you come back over to the bench for a bit. You seemed a little emotional. What does it go? What do you think about? Did you grab that trophy over there?
Well, I actually haven't touched it yet, but just to get this win, man, this is a big statement for our program. I'm so happy. I thank God that he's able to just bless us to get this victory. Happy for my teammates. I'm happy for the seniors. Man, just things are looking up for us right now.
What does it mean to you personally, though? You made some statements how you wanted to win this game before you left Michigan State. What does it mean to you?
This means a lot. I definitely didn't want to go through my whole college career without beating an opponent, and seeing as how we haven't beat Michigan at Michigan since way back in 1990, and to just be part of the team that helped establish, well, the start of that win, man, that just means a lot for this being my senior year.
Go touch the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Well, yeah, thanks. Go ahead, Sean.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Final score, Michigan State 35, Michigan 21. Tune in tonight for Saturday Night Football on ABC. Penn State and Ohio State. Now for Chris and Aaron, Sean McDonough saying so long.
This has been a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Place in the Big Ten and dreams of a national title on the line, the undefeated Nittany Lions battle the Buckeyes. Saturday Night Football on ABC. Penn State, Ohio State, tonight at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
A is for Atlanta. In the chase, A means hauling asphalt with attitude.